welcome to the StarLadder I-League Star Series finals. We're here for the grand finals today, guys. It is time. 2 teams left remaining for fighting over that lion's share of $300,000, a little bit more than 30,000. That's for 3rd and 4th place, and we're here live in the Minsk Arena amongst all the snow. There's thousands of people that actually gathered here today. And actually, the first day already, they were at 8 a.m. That's 2 hours earlier than we actually start. There were 4,000 people waiting in the cold to get the best place so they can witness all the action firsthand here. EG taking on Team Alliance will be our grand finals. And look at that arena.
The fans here have been great. They're absolutely rabid.
So amazing.
In the best way possible. I think these guys deserve a major. I want to see some. I want to see it. I think they could sell 5,000, 10,000 more tickets, honestly.
Yeah.
Do it during the summer, and it's even better.
Yeah, Evil Geniuses and Team Alliance are making it to the grand finals here. Evil Geniuses was the first one to qualify yesterday after beating LGD, and we're going to take a look at what they had to say before the match.
Just you pick the strong heroes in the meta, and you try not to give your opponents as many as you can, and then if you're going to give them some, make sure you have an answer for them.
We have problems with one of their strategies, but we found a way to beat their other ones. I think the crowd's amazing. I'm super surprised on how many people actually turned up here. Minsk, it's been really cold here, not really used to that, but I'm having a lot of fun here. I'm just glad the crowd is here too, just cheering for us as well.
Evil Geniuses definitely looking strong after their match yesterday. K-pop, what's your impressions on the form of EG is in right now?
I think the form of EG is exceptional. I mean, they didn't perform super well in the group stage, but that's kind of par for the course for Evil Geniuses over the course of the last year. And they've looked exceptionally strong in their best of 3 so far in the playoffs. And they haven't even showed all of their hands. Like, as we talked about yesterday, there's still signature heroes they haven't picked. There's still strategies they haven't employed. They come into this game with, I think, a lot of motivation and a lot of just strategic upper hand over Alliance.
Okay, and they have also, of course, a lot of versatility in their lanes, going for different lanes. Lumi, what do you think we're going to see today? Is it going to be Samil off lane, Samil mid?
I think they could do whatever they want. I think yesterday you were asking who do you shut down the EG, and to me they're like the many-headed Hydra. You can't just deal with one because everybody will show up. I mean, Universe, he's quietly been the best off lane for this tournament, like many other tournaments ago, or all the other tournaments before this. I feel like he's also one of the best off lanes. So to ask the question is like, you know, where does Sumail lane or what will Universe play? I don't think it matters. I think it's what PPD drafts and how he will like strategically move his players. I think it'll just come down to that.
Yeah, in many ways, this grand final is actually a match of versatility versus specialization, and we've seen most professional Dota teams go one way or the other. EG or maybe Secret are more versatile, but the teams that have done well recently, the Alliance, then OG, Vici Gaming, TI4, CDEC, those are all specialized, we do a certain thing teams. So it's really a clash of styles. Does EG's versatility work against Alliance's like specialized playstyle, or is it the other way around?
Well, we're going to find out what Fear was thinking right before this match today.
Hi, final day. You were in the finals, the last match. How do you feel? What do you think about your opponents today, Alliance?
I think they're really strong, and in this patch in particular, a lot of the heroes that they really love to play are really good, like meta heroes. So we haven't played them in grand finals probably ever. It's been a long time since we've been able to play them. So excited to see what they have to bring. We know they're veterans. They play really well on the main stage as well, so we're expecting good games.
Do you have like special preparation exactly for this last match?
Oh yeah, we prepared. We talked about what they're going to pick and how we're going to counter it and what we're going to pick for ourselves against them. So I think we're pretty ready.
And what can you say about our LAN finals? Did you like the show? Did you like the opening ceremony? What can you say?
Yeah, the production value of the whole tournament has been really fun to watch. Like, the tournament has been a lot better than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be pretty good, but it exceeded all expectation, I'd say, and it's been a lot of fun to play.
What can you say? What is the guarantee of your success? How do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I always say it's 50-50 every match I go into, and then it's up to the players to make the difference.
Thank you very much. I wish you good luck. The whole stadium are waiting just for you to play. So good luck and have a great game.
Yeah, humble fear there, pointing out that they spent time preparing against their match here, or for their match against Alliance here in the Minsk Arena. A lot of fans going to be cheering on both teams, actually. A fairly split fan base here. Now, for Team Alliance, a lot of TI champions in there. EG, 4 TI champions in there. But overall, a lot of experienced players here. We're going to find out what Dota had to say, or what Alliance had to say after their group stages.
Yeah, it feels good that we proved that we could get to the final at least. Yeah, I mean, we were getting a lot of flack for getting an invite over Liquid or LGD, so it feels good that now that we beat them, and now we've proven all the haters that they're wrong. So. Well, this is definitely one of the most exciting tournaments for sure. One of the biggest, and yeah, it's just one of the best I've been to for sure. I can't wait to play EG and spank Baby Rage, you know. Yeah, we're gonna crush them for sure. Believed in us and gave us your energy, so keep doing that.
They have been getting a lot of energy from the crowd over here. Lumi, one of the things when we talk about Alliance, when we talk about their drafts, when we talk about their playstyle, specialization playstyle in specific here, you talk about the bans, and you talk about Lone Druid ban, Chen ban, Nature's Prophet ban. Yesterday we saw the strategy for against Liquid, just leave all the heroes of the specialization type of thing in the pool. What do you feel like is the right thing to do against Alliance?
Against Alliance, I feel like a lot of teams try to target out one player. They're like, okay, Bulldog only plays, 2 heroes. That's the meme. That's a joke. But I mean, yesterday you see the last pick, Weaver. To me, that was the defining pick.
Right.
The Swarm just did so much damage in a couple of team fights. So I think it's very dangerous to go into a best of 3, a best of 5, and think that Alliance just plays 2 strategy, 2 lineups.
Right.
I think PPD gives S4 and the rest of Alliance a lot more respect than that. I think we're going to see a very well developed draft throughout all 3 games if we do get 3 games. So I don't think you just ban Bulldog and you just win. I think we're going to see much more Dota than that.
It reminds me a lot of TI3, and I think a lot of the discussions that were being had behind the scenes between like analysts and players that were already knocked out and trying to discuss and talk about how good Alliance was and how do you draft against them. I think it's a very similar situation. They just have too many trademark heroes. So there's not really, I don't think there's any 2 wrong first stage bans against Alliance. It's more of, how are you going to play against what you're going to let them have? You kind of want to, it's not that you don't want to play against certain heroes, it's that you know how to play against the heroes you're going to let them have, I think, is the better strategy.
EG are going to ban the heroes that they don't feel comfortable going up against.
Exactly.
Or possibly the heroes that they can't play, because it's weaker if you leave something in that you couldn't pick. So for me, the most obvious one is the Wisp, because we know EG just never play Wisp.
Right.
The next most obvious you would probably say is Chen, but I have this feeling that EG might actually introduce us to their Chen today. I wouldn't be that surprised if we see a first pick Chen for EG.
It's a PPD play to like make everyone, lull everyone to a false sense of security. Yeah, guys, Chen's good, but we can't play Chen. It's too bad that we can't play Chen. And then they pick Chen and own with it.
We've actually seen them try Wisp. I think at one of the MLGs it really didn't go well. Whereas we haven't really seen the Chen, and we've seen PPD play Enchantress before. Back in 2014, he did really well. It was more of a cheese, but.
And Fear's been playing professional Dota for 8 years. I'm sure he can play Chen. Maybe it's kind of like his Earth Spirit, right? Like he maybe can't play it at the same level of a Jerax or a Lil, but he can still play the hero exceptionally well and get a lot out of it. So I don't think it's unheard of that they could go for the Chen.
Well, we have a pre-match interview with Loda. Let's hear what he had to say.
Hi, so you're in the finals again. How do you feel? What are you thinking about right now?
Thinking about the finals and beating EG.
You're 100% confident in yourself.
Of course, we're 100% confident in ourselves, but we're just looking forward to a great series. EG is a great team, and it's going to be fun to play them in a BO3 and not just a BO1.
And what about yesterday's game? You easily won Liquid. Do you expect the same result today?
No, not really. I think that the games today are going to be a lot more difficult, but I know that we have it in ourselves to beat them, and yeah, we're all confident and just hoping for some good games.
And what about the show? What about the tournament? Do you like it? Were you comfortable in this week? Not except of this the situation like when you came back here and with the flight.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's not really anything to whine about. I think the tournament has been really great overall. I think the hotel is good, the venue is good. We have practice rooms ourselves. Yeah, there's a lot of people helping us with whatever we want, and the fans are extremely passionate as well, so it's really cool.
You know that the whole stadium is cheering for you. You saw what happened yesterday, like you were like for 20 minutes on the stage giving the autographs. So I wish you good luck. Everyone loves you, and have a good game. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alliance is very confident going into this match, is what Loda just said. Scant, yesterday and the day before, you said that confidence is very important for Alliance. Do you feel like they're back in shape?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, confidence was a key for them in their first round in 2013. The confidence both to do your own style, like develop your own kind of play style, and then the confidence to keep doing that same thing regardless of the fact that it's predictable for your opponents. The interesting thing for me in this matchup is that the team that goes full versatility as opposed to full like specialization, it also is dependent a lot on confidence. It's like you're going in with like, we don't really have an exact plan, but we're confident we'll be able to adapt to whatever you do. So it's two completely different styles, but they're both based in a large amount of confidence. And definitely, I don't know if you'd agree, both of these teams are not lacking in confidence.
Yeah, I think this tournament is what the tournament that Alliance took in China back in TI3 era was for them. Like where they went to China, they didn't drop a single game.
Right.
And sure, it's not like Alliance had a perfect tournament here, but you know, down the road in all the other majors, if they could topple EG in this best of 3, I think they could feel like they have a very good shot at taking the next major as well. Yeah. So I think this will be a big testing ground for them and big confidence boost if they do win.
Yeah, I think this tournament in general has been very good for Alliance in regards to giving them something to really fight for. Like they really, every team wants to win, sure, but the extra stuff, like the issues coming into the tournament, people being, myself included, not really thinking that they were fully back to full form. It gave them the energy and the drive that they needed to really want to prove the haters wrong. And they've talked about it in their interviews. Like that type of motivation has really driven them more so than I think just about any other team has. Because when you win and you win and you win, sometimes you can get a bit complacent. You feel like you don't have as much to prove. Maybe EG has a lot of confidence, but not as much to prove as Alliance does.
Well, it's time for the opening ceremony of the grand finals, guys.
снова здравствуйте, Минск-арена!
Goosebumps. I can watch that all the time. I don't care if I've already seen it before. That is probably one of the best intros I've ever seen.
It's
A lot
really
of tournaments can take example of that.
It's really crazy where we came from, right? You know,
Yeah.
just 2 years ago, StarLadder was happening in Key Arena, which is a nice venue, but you know, there's maybe 200, 300 people coming and hanging out, watching some Dota. And now it's just
Is this
look at where we are. It's crazy.
packed stadium? I
Want that
see
energy.
signs for both Alliance and Evil Geniuses.
They want that energy.
Yeah.
Spirit bomb 'em.
Yeah, something else that's interesting, you go back to the point about confidence, and this is like an interesting thing I noticed in one of the interviews yesterday with Alliance. EGM was talking about how they lost to Liquid at WCA,
Geniuses!
but he said it was a match that didn't matter.
Right.
And I went back and checked, and I was pretty sure, actually that match did matter. The situation was that because MVP beat DC, it didn't matter that Liquid beat Alliance,
Right.
but they couldn't have known that MVP would have beaten DC. So,
Alliance or Evil Geniuses walking onto the stage. They were the first team to secure a spot in the grand finals. They had a fantastic group stage. Did end up losing against Alliance. They did have a Sand King there for Samil, which might have been a bit of a test pick, because at that point they were already through.
yeah, the point I was making before about EGM saying that the only match they lost didn't matter, it tells you again something about confidence. It's like, I'm not saying that he's like deliberately being misleading. It's that your team is so built with confidence that the narrative changes to like, we haven't really lost.
Drinking the Kool-Aid
Yeah.
of your own
Exactly,
team,
yeah.
which is good if you're talking about winning. Like you want to be like almost ignorantly like in your own fan. Like you want to think you're infallible in a lot of ways.
It actually helps you to win.
Exactly.
And another thing that helps in terms of Alliance's confidence, you said, sure, they haven't won every game this tournament.
Yeah.
They've won the lane stage of every game this tournament.
Yeah.
Though I think maybe not the Na'Vi. I think Na'Vi's the only team that challenged them in the lane stage.
And one of the games they had, game 2 against Team Secret, they had a tough time in the laning stage, but they did end up winning the late game in that game. So, but overall, I mean, even the games they lost in the group stage the first day, they can contribute. Well, we would have won if we had good rest, if we had good preparation, if we had, all those factors coming together where they were actually ready to play the matches, other than having the trip from hell through the snow and mist.
All right, can I just say something that's not relevant at all to today's match?
Sure.
I just noticed that when Team Secret and Alliance walk to stage, it's always Loda and Puppy in the front, always. And I don't know if the other teams. I think Fear went on today first. Sometimes it's
he was
PBD.
He was walking side by side with Arteezy.
Arteezy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like a.
Put your veteran in front.
Yeah, Lotus, even if he's not like the play caller, he's always been like the leader, the soul.
I would
the
feel
heart,
very
the-
comfortable if I'm on the Alliance to just walk behind Loda. He's like the shield. He's a name.
He's the vanguard.
He is the vanguard. Yeah.
I mean, obviously they've been here before, but it doesn't mean that they're not just people who wanted to play video games. We're generally not known as the most sociable of kinds, so walking into an arena packed with people cheering you on can be a bit daunting. In which case, putting the most experienced player in front is maybe an idea. I don't know if that has a factor, but I know that would be a factor for me personally.
I want to bring something up about Loda, which is maybe a bit of an elephant in the room. Loda is not just a good leader. He is actually an extremely good Dota player, and I think there's a lot of people who look at Alliance and he's definitely the most criticized player on the team as an individual player. And I don't think that's necessarily fair. I think that he's just as important to their team as every other player, playing the heroes he plays and playing them very well. And we've seen a lot of ninja dodges by his Juggernaut in the last few days, for example, but he plays his role just as well as everyone does.
I think that works out for them, though, that he's kind of the magnet to criticism, because I think he's kind of the one that soaks it all into himself so it doesn't bounce off and affect everyone else. And I think that's kind of what he wants. And I think we also saw through the group stage as well that he's kind of the centerpiece for the team in terms of their performance. When he doesn't have a bad game, Alliance, or when he has a bad game, Alliance has a bad game. I think he's the real barometer for the team in a lot of ways. They can come back if S4 maybe doesn't have the best game, but if Loda does poorly, I don't think Alliance has a lot of chances.
It's very interesting because we pretty much all agree that Bulldog's the real carry, but we still have this effect that even though Loda's not the real carry, Alliance don't want him having a bad game.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to see the grand finals very soon. Now, we know that the styles are going to be different in terms of playstyle. Before the games, actually, we heard Poppy talk about this matchup in the review of yesterday. And he said, well, it's going to be a best of 3. Regardless of who's going to win, I mean, he got pressure to, of course, say that Alliance is going to win. But initially, regardless who's going to win, it's going to be a 2-0.
I think that was very interesting.
Because we were talking about draft adapting and adapting strategies yesterday, and he also said that if it went to a best of 5, he thought that Alliance would be the one to win in a best of 5 3-2.
Right. So I think what that says is that he thinks independent of who wins, whoever wins the first game will use that momentum going forward and will be able to win the second game, which is weird because usually that's how EG does well, is losing early and adjusting to it late.
Yeah.
So maybe he thinks, since he thinks it's Alliance, he thinks if they win the first game, they'll be able to like just, I guess, use that motivation over EG's adaptation.
EG have already lost to Alliance in the group stage, so it's like if they're not going to win game 1, then is the whole EG learns from their mistakes thing working in this time? And it's also EG usually they even said in one of the interviews, I think Arteezy said, the reason they get better after losses is because they can study their opponents.
Right.
You shouldn't need that against Alliance, right? You shouldn't have had to lose against them to study them because they're doing the same thing anyway.
They're doing the same thing anyway, but it's a slightly different incarnation of the old tried and true Alliance style. But I think there's some slight curveballs. There's some slight differences.
It's different to 2013 Alliance, but it's the same as everything they've done this patch. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, they threw out some stuff like the aggressive tri-lane the other day. I mean, I think there's a couple of curveballs. The Weaver pick, you got to kind of understand like when they're going to bring that stuff up. I don't think it's so cut and dry.
I think one of the most difficult things that you have to deal with when you're facing up against Alliance is that there's really no other way to practice against their playstyle unless you're actually playing official matches. Yes. There's just no way. You can't ask, if you're going to scrim, you can in theory ask your team, ask the enemy team, hey, we want to scrim and we want to specifically practice against this, but you can't do that with any other team than Alliance, and Alliance is not going to review any of their secrets.
The hardest thing to learn from scrims is late game decision making. Like when we see early, like new teams coming up, like that's where they always fail, right? Like they can usually, if they dominate lanes, make good mid-game fight decisions, like know when to take objectives. But sometimes when you get to these 45, 50-minute games and you're trying to figure out, like, should we base race? Should we be split pushing now? Should we be grouping now instead? Do we sneak a roche? Do we counter the roche that they're going for right now? Those are the things that take experience and time to learn, and Alliance and EG both really, really excel at.
I think EG were probably the most prepared team for this tournament. They arrived the earliest, they boot camped. But the interesting thing is that from what I've heard, they were mostly scrimming against CIS teams. They played a lot against Na'Vi, maybe a bit against Virtus Pro, and I don't know about Vega. Do you think that preparation against Russian or CIS teams is helpful against Alliance?
I think it is, actually, and it's funny you say that because EG was mostly scrimming against VP, which showed a lot of kind of all-in push strats this tournament. And I think that might actually benefit EG if that's the kind of style Alliance goes for.
Well, we're going to see what's going to happen. Lumi, first bans are out. Give us your thoughts.
Surprised to see that EG has left the Wisp in the pool. Considering that, like we said earlier, EG don't really play the hero all too often, and it's definitely one of Alliance's comfort pick. At the same time, I don't think Wisp has had the best track record in this particular tournament. And, you know,
I don't think Alliance have gotten it yet. I think it's just been banned against them every time.
That's true. So, and they're not even first picking it, so...
Well, EG sticks to the Witch Doctor metagame.
Continues.
Yeah.
The Witch Doctor.
I mean, the Witch Doctor is just really good in this meta. It's good against pushing, and I think maybe what K-pop was actually going to say, like, scrimming against the Russian teams, they're also doing push strategies, and Witch Doctor is really good against the push. Alliance, actually, people talk about split push, but split push has always been the backup plan for Alliance. They're actually a push team, even in 2013.
Right.
They get their timing, they push, and if they have to, they'll split push, and that's why they like the
all
Nature's.
in. They always push with things that they can adjust to later.
That's why they like the Nature's Prophets, right? Because it fits into the push and the split push. But I would still be shocked if EG picked the Wisp, so the question is, are they just fine with Alliance getting the Furon and the Wisp?
I think so. I think we saw from what Bulldog was able to do to the Wisp of Liquid that if you see the Wisp coming and you pick a core that can deal with it and burst them down really fast, I think you can deal with it.
But it's EGM Wisp, man. Actually, I think that Alliance were picking Wisp at the Frankfurt Major, but it was Ake playing it then, and so
really
they weren't doing that well. Well, EGM wasn't in the team then.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's right.
And so, like, I don't know, there's potential that they looked at that and they were like, hey, Alliance's Wisp is not that scary anymore, but EGM's back here, and he was the Wisp player that was meant to be scary.
And we finally see the Universe Darkseer. If I'm not mistaken, this is actually the first game for Universe on Darkseer this tournament. Darkseer's been one of the more popular picks, but EG just haven't really seen a need for it, but I think it works out pretty well.
They've had a lot of Voids, Enigmas. Nature's Prophet.
I think this actually potentially suggests that Enigma could still come out for Fear. I think PPD could be on that Witch Doctor. I think if you get the Darkseer and the Enigma and the Witch Doctor,
you got the wombo combo complete, right?
And Alliance's plan is to group up and push, and like, how do you push into that kind of thing? So I think when we get to the second phase, we're probably see Alliance ban out that Enigma that EG have been going for this tournament.
I mean, they also played a Beastly Silencer on EGM when I think yesterday they played it. So got a triple kill, I believe, ultra kill against Team Secret.
They almost always pick the Silencer when S4 is bat. So
Fair enough, yeah.
It's meant to be like a little kind of combination.
Combo, yeah.
Poor Dooney. Everyone else on his team got like mega buffs to their heroes.
He's still
except for
stuck with
Dooney.
IO.
Dooney doesn't need it.
Oh, they don't go for the Wisp, so EG had a good read, I guess. Or maybe Alliance were like suspicious.
They're baiting it
you know,
out.
I mean,
like-
well, that's probably the Ake hero, so it still could be. Maybe they're just still waiting to see if it fits their playstyle a little bit better. Or maybe they're seeing what EG banned in
That's
the
a
second
good point.
phase.
Like, if you're gonna pick the Wisp, let's get more information because it's suspicious that they're giving it to us, kind of thing.
Because if they get usually when you pick a Wisp, you pick it in the first part of the phase, so you can then pick his partner immediately afterwards without it getting banned. So now, if they pick the Wisp now, they risk getting their favorite partners in Sven and CK actually for Alliance. They haven't really been favoring the Iotani, so I think if they pick the Wisp, then EG can just fire back with a Sven and CK ban, and then Alliance is maybe a bit more confused about
We
what to go
saw them
next.
going for the CK in the group stage, and I believe they ended up
I
winning
think
that match.
it's still good. It still fits the push strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's.
I remember that one final push that had like 80 illusions on the
CK
towers.
actually has more like push potential than just about any other core in the game.
It was actually in the game against EG.
Yeah, that was the game they
interesting
won.
thing about that game is that EG nearly won that game, and I think Alliance completely outdrafted them. I think EG didn't have anything to do with the Chaos Knight. They didn't have anything to do with the Death Prophets. It was like, in my opinion, we didn't actually discuss this yet, but I favor EG going into this match in large part because EG is the one team in this tournament who more than once have gone to a position where I think they were totally outdrafted, and they still won.
Still won.
But in that match specifically, wasn't Alliance maybe less confident then than they are now? As you said, that played a big factor.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I mean, Alliance have had a lot of big victories since then, so that could also change the dynamic. But something that's interesting if we compare the heroes, I've been hearing a lot of people saying that Alliance are just playing the same heroes, and they kind of are, but there's important heroes they played at TI3 that they haven't picked at all now. And you can see a trend if you look at them. We haven't seen S4 Mag. We haven't seen EGM Naga. We haven't seen Ake playing Quetzal, right?
Right.
And the reason we haven't seen those heroes is because their playstyle used to be win the lanes, then they abuse the jungle, and then they push.
Right.
Abusing the jungle is not part of the plan anymore because stacking the jungle is not that efficient anymore. And
Correct.
so that actually forced Alliance to adapt slightly.
You take advantage of the jungle just in different ways. It's
With
by
the Chen.
Yeah, it's by picking a jungler, picking an offlaner that can take advantage of stacks, or not stacks, but of farming camps.
But this is why PPD first bans Chen, because
Exactly.
the best way they can abuse the jungle these days is with that hero. Well, also the Nature's Prophet can kind of do that to some extent because he's going to shift into the jungle when he wants to.
I think we do still see teams abuse the jungle, but in different ways. You see the carry ducking into the jungle early to create a little bit of farm, let your support get the level 6, but it's not exactly a very hero-centric strat. I mean, it works a little bit better for Terrorblade because you could jungle better as a core, but I think both teams could look to that to eke a little bit more resource out of the map. But as we go through the second phase of the ban, one of the heroes that I thought Alliance had a lot of success with was a Spectre, and it's taken out. I think Spectre in particular is very good against Witchstalker. I mean, Fear, when he channels those death words, he's hiding in the trees.
I like that.
And
Sorry.
here comes the Jakiro.
Support Jakiro at that too.
Vacuum. It's
I mean,
it's
Darkseer's off lane, right?
Yeah.
What if it's safe lane Jakiro?
It can be a Lodo or a Bulldog. I mean,
well,
yeah,
so
it can't really be a Bulldog.
It would have to be an
mean,
Arteezy
sorry,
Jakiro.
yeah.
Arteezy played Venge in this tournament, so
I don't think it's.
It's
I
not a
don't
core
think it's.
Jakiro,
It
guys.
is not likely, but it is not outside the realm of possibility in my mind.
I think that the best that EG have looked in this tournament has been Arteezy's on like a very hard carry, and
Yeah,
it's actually more like Sumail's doing more tempo control to add to Universe. So I actually agree. This is 99% chance support Jakiro.
Yeah, look, I would agree, but there's still a chance.
Guys,
They go back for the IO.
don't forget that Jakiro got 7 base damage buff this patch.
Yeah.
He's harassing like a king.
So is that going to be the burst damage for the Wisp? Just to attack him with Jakiro?
Liquid fire
I mean,
on top of that, you know?
Just to give one more tidbit to why it could possibly be an Arteezy Jakiro's. Arteezy has really been like really push focused so far this tournament. Like he's been getting a lot of his gold from taking down early towers and going for that, whether it's Lone Druid, Lycan, some of these other cores. So it's not crazy, I think, to think that they're just going for like a crazy like tower siege strategy.
What I would think then, if that is the case, I would see Fear on the Jakiro. Darkseer, after he gets some levels, goes into the jungle, and Jakiro takes over the lane after he's level 5, has level 3 in his liquid fire and can start
That's another good
pushing
thing
up.
about the point for support Jakiro and how support Jakiro can actually
Utilize
work
that
is being
jungle.
able to give him the lane.
That's actually very likely. It's something EG's done a lot in this tournament, actually. They've sent Universe plus Fear into the offlane, and then Universe moves, usually when it's Nature's Prophet, but Darkseid could do something similar, right? I actually think... Sorry, I actually think that all of these picks on EG's lineup, look at them carefully, and they're all good against Wisp. So we were asking, like, it's suspicious they led through the Wisp. They've thought a lot about which heroes they want against the Wisp. If you relocate into Vacuum or Cask or Ice Path, you're in trouble. You can't catch Queen of Pain with a relocate.
Yeah.
I'm excited just to see this mid
Mid
matchup.
matchup, yeah, me too.
The puck bomb, nothing but skilled involved, and
No, there need to be a gentleman's agreement. All chat, no support roams.
I would love to see that. I think
Yeah.
people would pay to see that. I mean, it's one of those old school matchups as well, right?
No wards mid, no high ground ward for anybody, just
Well,
pure skill.
you can do that.
I actually think that S4's pack, I mean, people talked a lot about the Weaver, but I actually think S4's pack won Alliance the first game yesterday.
Okay.
Because how many times do you see Alliance get into a team fight, and the reason they're winning the fights is because the enemy team is trying to kill Pack.
Yeah.
And S4 is just so confident, so good at, like, I'm low HP, but I'm going to live because I got all these, like, jukes and jibes, ninja plays.
Look at that blue light, and then there's one headset that's orange that jumps out. That's really
For Dutch, for Holland?
I don't know. I was gonna say for Fnatic, but they're not in.
the difference, though, in that game was Puck was facing against very little disables. This game, you got a bit more. You got the casket, you got the ice path. Still not exactly the most reliable stuff. but
Vacuum into ice path.
Sure,
That's nice.
sure. Of course, Queen of Pain might look into getting an Orchid, although Queen might get a defensive Yules for herself, you know, against the Waning Rift.
Yeah.
Also sets up the Jakiro Ice Path if they want to go in that direction.
Who's the RTZ here? Okay, so they banned the anti.
It's the last hero, definitely. It's the last hero.
Looney. Ooh, okay. So this is a very, I think this is very pushy.
It's very pushy. It's very good against a relocate, like you said. Can you imagine you just relocate into the jungle and suddenly Eclipse greets you?
Yeah.
And more importantly, I'm also very worried about the lockdown of Alliance. You get Coil, and that's freaking it.
Yeah.
But this is my point. Like, Alliance often have these drafts where it's you can't see how they're meant to win the fight, and then it's because S4's Puck, and somehow he just like does these. Loda did it a bit yesterday on Juggernaut too, but it's usually the S4 Puck where I agree with you, Lumi, that they're going to have ways to lock down the Puck, but it's always a decision. If you try and focus Puck and you don't kill Puck, you usually lost the fight because of it.
Is this a race king?
I think it's more likely to be CK. Because
Okay.
I think CK does pretty well ganking the Luna.
They got
There's
a lot of
AoE.
AoE. They got a lot of
That's
AoE.
true. They do
I'm
have
more
a ton
comfortable
of
with
AoE.
the Rave King here because, you know,
What
we
else
haven't
is
seen a whole lot of I mean,
Because
he's
the Juggernaut's out,
kind of
Spectre's
out
out,
of.
Spin's
He's
out,
kind of
Fnatic's
out of
out, Gyra's
options.
out.
He's kind of He's kind
He's
Loda's kind
got
of out
the
of
Slaughter
heroes.
still.
Slaughter,
What do you think of
Slaughter
Slaughter?
could
no,
work.
they need way more damage. Slaughter can't give enough, I think.
That's also true. I think they're kind of backed into a corner here, and they might have to pick something suboptimal. I think they still might go for a CK even if it's a bad pick.
Could they pick Lycan? I mean, that is.
They could go like
Doesn't I don't know if it really fits the draft, but it is a hero Loda plays.
carry a Batten. No, even less damage.
Let's not do that, please.
Oh, we forgot about Terrorblade. Did they pick
Yo.
Terrorblade?
Oh
here?
yeah.
They got the.
Yeah.
dash.
Oh, the
That's
Red King
red.
Shiver. Look at that.
Well, it
Look at
was,
the
as you
call.
mentioned, it was one of the only ones that was
Yeah.
still left in the pool
Yeah.
We're just going through Loda here.
I was going
Go
to do a
through it.
TI3 Lifestealer throwback, but Lifestealer has not been seen at all.
Lifestealer's not the
Yeah,
hero.
let's not do
Yeah.
that.
Lifestealer is not the hero right now.
Okay, guys, I want to hear from you. Who's got the better draft? Who's going to take this?
I like
Onward.
EG.
EG.
Loda's uncomfortable.
Come on, Louis.
Alliance.
Alliance.
EG baited the Wisp. EG's gonna win.
EG's going to win. We're going to find out which one is going to win. Is it going to be EG? Is it going to be Alliance? We're going to find out with LD and Gods.
Here at Minsk Arena, the crowd is absolutely deafening, and the game has not even begun yet. Gods, are you ready for this?
I'm so ready. This has just been what everything's kind of been building towards throughout the StarLadder season, all the online play, an amazing land so far, and one best of 3. We're going to find our champion.
Well, whether or not the game works out for EG, you can definitely see that the preparation time has benefited them to game plan against Alliance. Here we go. The countdown is underway. It's time. Alliance versus EG. Bulldog on his customary one of 2 heroes. Didn't get the Lone Druid this time, got the Prophet. He's had a great tournament.
He joked against Secret. Little do you guys know, I only had one hero, guys, but he's pulling out what might be his second hero. When you're playing against Alliance, I don't know. It's
Proceed with caution.
I mean, people are talking about baiting out the IO pick, but they've just given, I feel more than the IO, it's the fact that Bulldog has Nature's Prophet. That has got to give Alliance a lot of confidence coming to this series. even though he's been playing more of the lone druid this tournament, this is to me his bread and butter. This is what he got kind of ultimately known for throughout TI3, and Alliance are going to come out swinging here with just some classic picks across the board. The S4 Puck, low to the one player who doesn't really have, I feel, as many signature heroes, but it's because of how versatile he's been this tournament, and they save his hero for last because they don't really mind what he's on as long as they secure the rest of their draft.
Yeah, it's an interesting Wraith King game where it feels like they have an almost endless array of tools to kite and control him, but EG, in terms of their overall team fight, very reliant on the big combo. So Wraith King generally pretty good in that situation. Very curious to see how well he ends up performing. But off the bat, it's going to be Universe, keeping Ake out of his jungle. Something we have seen a lot of teams trying to block that big camp near the off lane. But Universe wisely going to protect it, prevent any sort of ward placement.
And that was a big thing that Alliance did yesterday against Liquid that maybe wasn't talked about so much, but blocking off Mind Control's Darkseer camp just really shut him down. It forced him to go to lane, which is where he made mistakes, got picked off a few times, and really started to struggle. So,
and actually, he's going to start there in the woods, it looks like.
Yeah. I think it's something EG caught onto from watching that series, and it's very much an adjustment they made, saying, okay, if we pick Darkseer, we have to guarantee that Universe has this camp.
Oh, they already want to go on him. They're going to de-ward, and they move in, and he actually got an amazing spawn here. These Dark Trolls give a lot of experience, also pretty easy to kill, but Universe, he's level 1. He's got no surge, no way out. It's first blood for the Alliance.
And they take the big neutral creep as well. Universe, it's a level 2 Wisp. This is an amazing start for Alliance. They read him so well there. They get the D-ward off on top of that. Universe kind of saw him coming, but he was in that like,
it's so close, I have to finish it.
And if he's thinking, if I finish this could be my level 2. If I get Surge, this gank does nothing. So he really just tried to push limit. Now mid lane, Sumail's had his Salve cancelled. He's going to get orbed on as well. That's a lot of damage done, and Sumail's still a long way away from bottle. He immediately buys some
he's
tangos.
still ticking down. Another poison
no,
touch. It might be enough for a kill. It's cooling down. There's the heal. Ake manning up. One more auto attack. Oh, Sumail lives with 3 health. The puck comes rushing in. Not going to commit to that. Sumail just got the Blake off cooldown. Oh my, Sumail living life on the edge, but in the end, he lives to tell the tale.
I mean, Ake's just got to be like, man, 3 hit points. If I just had like an extra branch or something, I maybe get that kill. If he had a Fairy Fire, he gets that kill. Just such a tiny little fraction of a difference between the two, and Sumail's got to be just so thankful that he gets that one. Otherwise, that would have been a terrible mid lane for him.
Fairy Fire has been a big item at the early levels in this tournament. We see it again here on the main stage. So things are going to calm down a little bit, though Bulldog may get caught out here in the top lane. There's the Lucid Beam, the follow-up. Jakiro just laying into him with heavy damage. They get the kill. Bulldog down. Already the score 1-2. Still the early moments here of the game, but it feels like both teams want to play very up-tempo. A lot of pressure.
And already a lot of kind of adaptations to what they've seen in the past. Like EG, typically running these dual lanes where Fear will often kind of head towards the offlane with Universe, but they say, look, Bulldog, he's been such a key player. He's effectively the one position carry for this team. Let's trial in him. Let's make sure he has a rough start. You get the kills. You make sure he gets no farm out of the lane. And also the early ward from the Darkseer, who's now forced to rotate off into his jungle. He's completely abandoned the offlane. So very interesting start coming out from the two teams.
Not only did they kill him and steal the big creep, they then warded it, so they salted the earth as they moved on to their next objective. And it, as you mentioned, Darkseer is still going to get something in the jungle, but it allows these supports to roam on mid, to stack their own woods if they'd like. It just frees up Alliance so much here. It seems Bulldog is also going to make his own rotation now, as he's gone back to the woods. So both offlaners totally abandoning the offlane. Does feel very TI3-esque in the mid lane. S4 jumping in. Finds the solo kill on the Queen of Pain. S4 has had a dominant tournament. It's really been a comeback event for him. And again gets the job done mid.
Yeah, I mean, analysts talked about the 1v1 matchup between these two players and how important it can be. And I feel even more so for Alliance because of the role S4 plays in this team, being the main tempo controller, the puck, the bat, whatever hero it's on. He's the one who kind of controls the pace of the game for Alliance. Him getting a solo kill just changes everything. And winning his lane is just going to be so important for Alliance now. And we'll see both teams kind of transition to an early Tier 1 tower push, neither of which is likely to be too contested. Bulldog's just trying to use the trees to keep it alive, and this does give S4 time to rotate in, and the creep may be dragged
level
off.
6. This could be big. Very close in the bottom lane. Universe going to get caught out. The heal bomb's there. Nice body blocks. The orbs get the job done. Just watching S4 as it looks like any moment he could jump in. Has the coil now.
And
He's waiting for the opportunity. He could get Arteezy if he manages to hit the combo. Waiting for them to push it a bit further.
Bulldog's like, I'll bait him in. They'll go at me. Just you wait.
Oh, S4, time to make the move. Orb comes through, the coil's there. Arteezy with the quick TP out, should be okay. PPD as well. Do they get anyone? Nope, back to the fountain, absolutely fine. While they're also trying to set up on Fear bottom. That bottom tower, gods, it's almost dead already.
Yeah, Alliance, I don't think they were expecting EG to have the instant TP response to that play there. They will still get the tier 1 tower without losing their top one, and that was just such a great play by Bulldog in the top lane with his treants to make sure that tier 1 tower didn't have the creep wave on it. The treants just drew the aggro through the river, and as a result, Alliance don't take too much damage. Unfortunately for them, they don't get the money for the tier 1 bottom tower, but it's still map control going their way. It's a lot of pressure on EG's shoulders right now.
Man, Sumail, he's had a really rough time here on the Queen of Pain. Looking at his inventory, it's rather bleak compared to what S4's managed to assemble at this point. Still looking for the boots, does have the bottle. It's been a rough go for him, and S4 dominating the mid lane with the help of the early Dazzle rotation. Even though he died, he shut down Sumail's regen, forced him to use the Fairy Fire.
Yeah, but these EG supports just camping behind mid. They're kind of almost trying to bait Sumail this time, but S4's just been so on point. Again, you see a phase shift dodge here. He's going to try and turn this one around. I don't think he's going to be able to go for this kill. The Ice Path, oh! If he hits that into a Sonic Wave, you're looking at a kill. S4 did not have the Illusionary Orb there, so tiny little bit of missing range coming out from Fear's Ice Path.
He might have had it in time to drop a coil and get a counter kill, but PPD's going to find him down in the river. Ice Pad comes through, S4 will get caught out, but only for a moment. Jaunts away, suddenly a rotation as well for the Queen of Pain. They're really committing onto S4, but Ake's here to back him up. Belief does have a point in the grave. And now the Nature's Prophet coming in as well. Suddenly reinforcements arrive from the IO. They go up onto the high ground. PPD, again the TPs. No, this time not enough. EG thwarted in their efforts to just back away without punishment. They've been pressing a little bit here, and Alliance taking full advantage.
And again, more D-wards coming out from Alliance. They have been completely on top of EG's wards this game, from the starting D-ward that the Darkseid put down at the bottom rune to this one here in the mid lane.
You know, there was the interview yesterday on stage where Slacks asked Loda, you know, we see you running a lot of the same heroes as TI3 Arrow when Alliance was on top. Do you feel like you're just back to your old tricks, or have you changed up the formula? And this, to me, is the big difference. Alliance, even though they're running similar drafts, are playing much more aggressively with the supports, and especially in this particular game.
Yeah, much more aggressively, and they're playing like better as a team than I've seen them since that TI3 era. They are looking right now like the well-coordinated team of the tournament. For EG, it's come down to more maybe the individual play as well as like the drafting and strategy at PPD, and that's where this clash is just going to be so interesting.
Well, Eclipse online now for Arteezy, but tough to actually use it against the Treants in the lane, so he may have to wait for a better opportunity. PPD is going to rotate in. It is currently nighttime. Elusive Beam could set this one up. They also get off the Ice Pad, but they kind of stack the stuns here. Cask is going to come through, but they know it's dangerous to overcommit. So they will back off, and Bulldog, he wants to go in. He's going to pop the Sprout. The Treants are there, and suddenly again the Dazzle arrives to the lane, but while that was happening in the mid lane, they've managed to kill up the Queen of Pain. S4 committing the coil, finding the kill. Alliance, just little squads of two getting the job done. And they're about to get the relocate. So their map presence is only going to amp up from here.
And they didn't even overreact to the pressure top on Bulldog. He throws out the Sprout. He doesn't even get any TP support. It's just the Dazzle who's sitting behind him, and EG just unable to find the kills. You kind of mentioned it. The Eclipse is not going to be a very potent tool against the Nature's Prophets because of the Treant's ability to just soak up the damage, and it's very much a spell they want to use like when Alliance come TPing into as a kind of counter gank a measure, as well as maybe Arteezy himself TPing in the other lanes, but so far, we've seen EG unable to kind of use this ultimate.
Well, Sumail's had enough of the mid lane. Yep. He's coming top, and Universe doesn't want to be bottom right now.
And it's not just the Eclipse, it's also the Sonic Wave. EG have had this up for some time, but all the pressure onto Sumail. He's 1,400 net worth behind S4. S4's individual play has just been phenomenal.
A little 4v4 action here top. There's a commitment from Sumail. Going to jump his way in. No relocate just yet. Beautiful grave by Ake. Keeps Bulldog alive, and now they're going to run forward. Sumail on the run. It's S4 again, finding the two-hero Coil. They're in trouble as well. Coil's going to snap. He might die in the fountain. Barely going to live, it looks like.
Oh,
Sumail! Still chasing for more. Another stun on Sumail. The follow-up's there. Alliance surrounding EG. 3 heroes crumble.
This Loda's play throughout this tournament, his TP rotations have been like as good as any player I've seen since like CDEC during TI. Like this is just unbelievable. Every time there's that crucial early game fight, that looks like, ooh, Alliance maybe in some trouble. Loda's just there to save the day. And he spends the entire time that he needs to be free farming, and then that one crucial fight, you know it, Loda will be there.
Has picked up the early broadsword. Are you thinking a blade mail for Loda here? Is that the item we're going to see on the Wraith?
It looks like a great item pick up this game against the Queen of Pain AoE damage. Against the Eclipse, there's nothing Luna can really do once you throw that Eclipse to prevent the damage being reflected onto you by the blade mail. So it's a fantastic item for Loda to go. Not to mention just the raw stats from this. You get a bit of extra mana to like just support your ultimate as well as your stuns, the extra bit of damage, the extra bit of armor. He can now transition off of this into a Blink Dagger. We've seen Radiance builds in the past, Maelstroms as farming items, but a very cost-effective early game item for him.
Well, the scary thing if you're EG, we have not seen the debut of relocate ganks. I believe S4's Puck either has a blink or is very close to getting it at this point. 1200, so a little whiles to go.
I mean, the story with Alliance has always been like they're known for their Rat Dota, but Bulldog's Prophet, this is not a game where he's going to have to split push and Rat Dota it up. If anything, I feel like Alliance at their best, they don't resort to Rat Dota. It's something that kind of comes as an afterthought or when things maybe go into the late game and they're not ahead. But typical Alliance strats, they win the lanes, they push down towers, and they'd rather stay like grouped up as a team unit and take fights to their opponent like they're doing now with EG. And if anything, if this game keeps kind of going along the course it's going right now, we will see Bulldog playing more of a fighting Nature's Prophet build.
Yeah, he is going for the cheap items right now, just trying to get active early. Drums will be coming out. He's the third in net worth here on Alliance, but all three of their cores topping the charts. And oh, by the way, that IO ahead of the Queen of Pain. Alliance having an incredible start here. And they're working on towers. Looks like they will smoke. S4 looking to make a move top. They have all 5 heroes available to join that fight, whether it's the Prophet with a TP and an ultimate or a relocate from the mid lane. So EG could be in a lot of trouble if they group up too much. Glyph comes out, does Arteezy back, he's sticking around, and here we go. The Prophet with the TP in, S4 to start the fight, the orb off the mark, though Arteezy's gonna back away, full health, full mana. Tower will go down to the Dire, so a nice win there for EG. No good setup for the Puck.
Yeah, hard if he dream coils, like we've seen before, Luna can just insta TP out, and unless Loda's there as well, you're not going to get that kill. Loda getting initiated on mid lane, but he's got the reincarnation. If they chase him too hard, that's where the Puck will just TP rotate, and suddenly EG will be in all sorts of trouble themselves. You can't try and take a team fight with Luna's Eclipse because of this blade mail right now.
Yeah, not to mention the second life to worry about. You commit everything on that Wraith King, and well, he could get relocated out, he could get graved, and even if he does die, round 2 is going to get ugly.
EG have kind of got to go into plan B, which is going to be looking to farm up Arteezy, go for the Helm of the Dominator, farm and stack Ancient, react to Alliance's moves. They can't try and take head-on team fights. They've got to try and catch like Alliance by surprise. Like when Alliance try and take a tower or go for a gank, you've got to show up with superior numbers. And you know Alliance are going to be a bit more as far as on the greedy side, as far as trying to secure their farm, not have all heroes present when they're taking a fight because they've got the relocate, they've got the great global mobility of the Nature's Prophet. Even Puck, when he's got the blink, has a lot of mobility himself. So if EG can find like a quick kill, throw all their ultimates, Eclipse plus Sonic Wave, and then disengage without getting caught, that's the hard part. That's how they can claw their way back into this game.
Well, I mean, you mentioned superior numbers, and of course, that's always going to be tricky against this draft. They've got 3 heroes that can instantly join the fight from the IO and the Prophet, and then the Puck may have the blink soon, at which point 4 heroes that can potentially close the gap quickly is all tier 1s aside from the offlane towers are currently up here. Actually, the safe lane tower for EG also fell.
This game just gets so tricky for Sumail. He's going to be going for what I can only imagine to be a Yule Scepter to try and defend himself against the newly purchased Puck Blink Dagger, which he knows is coming up any second now, but with Puck having a blink, Alliance could just snowball. It's not necessarily going to be the case. There was a game against Secret where, go back a couple of days, they got the 12-minute Puck blink. They had a StarLadder with a 9-minute blink dagger. They couldn't find kills, and that's what EG have to do. Basically what Secret did in that game 1 of their best of 3. Alliance hits all their early game item timings. They get a farm advantage, and then you don't give kills.
Moving in on the mid lane. He's going to find Sumail off the bat. PPD as well. Thrashed by Loda. And Alliance, all of a sudden, 5 mid out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well,
how do you even counterplay that?
It's not going to be the story of the game against Secret where they get the blink daggers and don't find a single kill anywhere on the map. Takes them just 10 seconds of S4's blink dagger to get a great initiation onto the Sumail Queen of Pain, and it's Bracer Gaming for EG. They are absolutely dirt poor. The 2 supports, the lowest farm tiers in the game. The Universe Darks here only just now about to pick up a mech. It's coming very, very late, though, for the team. And even with a mech, I don't think they can really... I don't think they've got a chance to really 5-man into the Alliance draft. They're going to try and do their best. That's why they picked up something like a Bracer and Artesia. Likely just goes back for like a Drum of Endurance himself to try and give his team any teamfight presence possible.
Well, Bulldog picking up the Gloves of Haste. Curious to see if this will be a Midas or a Maelstrom here. But has a decent amount of gold, whichever one he's going for now. And, oh by the way, Loda, 3,300. It is Radiance time for the Wraith King.
He's saying, EG, you guys are in trouble. You want to try and farm to the late game? Well, I'm going to secure my late game as well. And with the Radiance pickup, he'll be a huge teamfight threat, not to mention just have that ability to just push out waves,
and farm. You know, you mentioned the StarLadder game. They couldn't find ganks, but if you have a Radiance on your Wraith King, you don't really care that much if you find ganks. You are going to outfarm the opponent.
And that's where I love how much Alliance learned from that loss when they had StarLadder. They haven't changed Loda's playstyle. He's been doing exactly what he did on the StarLadder, but it's not been on StarLadder. It's been on heroes like Juggernaut, heroes like Sven, heroes like Wraith King that can also scale better into the late game than a StarLadder can.
Alliance going to scout things out here as the Treants parade towards the pit. This is a very slow Roche. EG feeling a bit desperate to get something dumb.
And they cannot continue. Yep. There is no chance. I think even Alliance themselves, they're not even following this one up. They're going to send one more Treant, but they're like, we don't even have to head that direction. There's no way EG with Roche half HP are going to continue doing it.
All right, the Roche sneak didn't work. Time to smoke up again and go for the team fight. But the man they're going to initiate on here is the Wraith King if they want to jump him. With the IO in position to catch him out, to save him if necessary, pops the Blade Mail. There's the tether relocate a bit on the early side. Are they going to counterplay this?
I think Alliance will try and 5v5 this one.
It was a short-range relocate.
They've got to blow up the Wisp.
Well, EGM is going to be pretty far forward, but S4 off the bat is going to find the pick. Brains down PPD. Now the the Ice Pen coming through, but not a very long duration one. And Alliance engage onto this. They catch out Arteezy. There's still no good opportunity here to pop the Eclipse. He's thinking about it, but he knows it would be a waste. So the Treants again save the day. Fear with the TP out attempt. Silence not in time. 3 have fallen. And Loda looking for a 4th. Universe. Oh, mid-stun animation there. Didn't quite have the range, but with that, Loda, looks like the Relic has just been purchased inbound from the Courier.
I mean, Alliance crushed that team fight with like 4,000 net worth of Wraith King, not even on his hero. He's currently at 8k net worth. Realistically, he has 4k net worth on his hero. Just treads Blade Mail. If he has a Blink Dagger there, it's a 5-man wipe. Not to say he should have a Blink Dagger. I much prefer what we're seeing here, but that just gives some perspective of how far ahead Alliance are right now. They can take a team fight like that with just all this kind of stored up gold that isn't even invested on their heroes just yet. Next time there's going to be a Radiance. After that, there's going to be the Blink Dagger. And then EG just get beaten down even harder. That was like one of those must-win fights for EG. And
do you think they should have taken the fight, knowing that the Wraith King was the man in front? Obviously, by the time that relocate ends, Alliance will be in position.
They really just tried to position around the relocate by having the Witch Doctor hiding in the trees. Great heads-up play from Alliance to find him with the puck. And it was the Treants of Bulldog scouting things out because they don't actually have vision around where the Wisp is going to relocate back. So they don't know if EG have backed off, if EG are going to try blow up the Wisp and take the fight. But Bulldog's Treants scouted out the Witch Doctor
forward.
and set the team fight
They're
going to
find the Luna here. Relocate coming. It's surprise PPD. Arteezy caught out again. The Luna gets hacked away at. Loda again executing our tour. Alliance, the hits keep on coming. 15-3, almost a kill per minute as we are about to hit the 18-minute mark. They are getting everything they want and more.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
This is going to be big. In the bottom lane, looks like Queen of Pain was slightly caught out, does blink away. We'll be okay for the moment, and it's going to be a Maelstrom grab for Bulldog, so not going too greedy with the Midas. Once that increases damage output by a bit, and they'll pressure mid. They will back off.
And in this situation, it's not even really just a farming item. It actually gives them a lot of DPS in the fight with the Phase Boots drums. He just right-clicks and he gets those Maelstrom procs. We're going to see good DPS coming out of Bulldog. Oh, sorry, the treads, not the Phase Boots. And EG, no BKBs, nothing to really be able to fight into Alliance right now, and it's going to be incredibly problematic for them to take any kind of engagement.
EG just on the defensive here. They committed 2 smokes previously to get into the Roche to try to gank in the enemy jungle, so the smoke supply is limited. The map control, not great with the Prophet constantly pushing out the lanes, and Treant scouting. They're going to find Jakiro in the Dire jungle. Bulldog has been very disciplined with his Treant micro throughout this game, keeping tabs on EG and, if nothing else, identifying where they're not. Arteezy farming up the Ancients here. He did go for the Dominator as his first big item, but he's been punished for it, constantly being aggressed on, and usually can't survive the damage output that Alliance have.
Radiant's bottom tower
Bulldog
is under
continues to
attack.
scout everything. The Radiant Vision also deep into the EG side of the map, in their jungle, in the bottom lane by the tier 2 tower, and items galore about to come out. A Dagon going to be the pickup for S4's Puck, and now he can just instantly take out a support, a Queen of Pain, whoever he really wants to. Outside of like the Darkseer, possibly the Luna, these EG heroes are just going to be minced meat to him. And I think this is like the ideal item pickup considering how far Alliance are ahead and how much further they can get ahead with the Dagon.
He can solo kill, I think, even the Luna practically
Yeah.
on its own.
Just the Darkseer,
So
I think,
say
to
nothing of the
survive,
supports.
really? And they've got a mech on Io. Like, EGM's getting so much farm that he can start picking up these teamfight items, which, I mean, Alliance don't even have to get the big teamfight items. It's just by sheer, like, hero level and farm advantage that they've been crushing.
They've got eyes here on PPD. Any back in the bottom lane. They're going to move into the pit. Treants arrive. So Alliance actually want to try and take a Roshan. EGM soloing it right now with the Treants at his side. Bulldog will arrive. They are going to walk into the pit here, and they also get vision now on the Luna, rotating towards the bottom lane, but EG, they've got the fear of God in them.
There's no play to go out and contest this Roshan. Alliance have the ward vision. They see him coming. EG have no vision on the map. You can like 5-man YOLO smoke this, but S4, again, his positioning such that he could see them before they actually arrive. And you run into S4, you can't actually kill him. He phase shifts, dodges everything. He blinks away. He's so elusive that he's just not a viable kill for them. And
they just don't have great catch for a Puck. There's no instant silences here. No reliable stuns that have any kind of long duration. So Alliance will get a grab, essentially a free Roshan, and now S4 with the Aegis can be even more aggressive. They've got 2 heroes with 2 lives. The Wraith King ultimate still online. I don't think we've actually seen him be forced to use it yet.
no, they haven't needed it at all. Like, I feel like we haven't even really seen Graves this game. At no point
There's
have
been
really,
a few.
Yeah, it's just like at no point have Alliance really ever been in trouble. There's not been a single fight which, outside the one fight at the T1 tower top where Loaded TP'd in, that was the only like iffy fight where it looked like EG had an opening. Every other engagement, every other fight, it's been Alliance just blowing away EG.
Alliance at 21 minutes, strutting up the bottom lane, looking for the quick racks here. Universe is going to go. He's got the back, the wall as well. Quappled over the top of the mech, keeps them in fighting shape for now. Everyone survives. S4 still alive here, has the Aegis and the Wraith King ult. There's your first reincarnation of the game. Now the Eclipse comes through, but the Treants are there to try and take it up. Loda in a bad position here. He's trapped out. He's going to go in, committing for this one. He's burning them down with the Radiance. In the end, he will end up falling. No buyback available. Looks like there was no defensive relocate out.
Yeah.
Bulldog does get a counter kill, but now Aki's in too far. Have they overextended? The Universe Darkseer working its magic. A 2 for 3, but they did kill the Wraith King and pop the ult as well.
I think EGM, from looking at the top, he
did
didn't have mana for the relocate when the respawn came from the Wraith King. And that just kind of worked against him. The mech just eating up a lot of his mana there. He had mana for relocate afterwards, but that was from popping his stick, his arcane boot. So when Loda got really low, he just didn't quite have the ability to save and pull him out, and that was partly what cost him. Alliance, I think, rightfully so, pushing high ground. They are so far ahead, but perhaps just missing that one core item in the Blink Dagger for Wraith King. Because if he dies there with Reincarnation, he can probably get the instant blink away, unless there's an ice path waiting for him, but it forces EG to coordinate a lot of spells just to kill him off and makes their life a whole lot easier having that blink initiation as well. But realistically, Alliance still in the driver's seat. It buys EG a bit of time to kind of continue getting whatever farm and items they can get up, but there is still way too many problems for EG to solve this game.
Yeah, and that was the debut of the Veil on the Jakiro as well. With their lineup, heavy AoE magic damage.
Yep.
Very potent, but that's EG's strong suit, right? When they're on the high ground, the Darkseer can get the jump with a really good back wall. Doing that outside of the base is dramatically more difficult.
And the key thing for Alliance with their positioning, which was on point, is that it's just the 2 frontliners, the Puck and the Wraith King, who get caught. Io, Dazzle, neither of them was in really risk of going down to the big AoE wombo combo, and I think EG, to win a team fight, have to catch at least one of those supports, ideally both, just to prevent like the Shadow Wave heals, the mech, the relocate saves. They need to be able to find a way to take down the backlines. When we saw Io lose with Team Liquid, it was when there was a Weaver who just kept coming in from behind, taking out the Wisp at the start of the fight, and that's something which EG, I think, have to make a key point to do as well. Problem is, it's all this big AoE damage that they want to like sack onto the vacuum. They don't have that one hero who can kind of come around and snipe the Io. Maybe someone like Arteezy flanks with an Eclipse, but options are very limited.
The triad summons have pretty much always been on point here for Bulldog as well. We saw that in the last fight. The bounces were a little unlucky, and quite a few beams ended up hitting the Wraith King, but the idea was there. EG, they did smoke bottom. S4, great map sense. Even pinged this out while they were still smoked. Hadn't revealed a thing. He knew that EG was likely headed this way, and they have counter-smoked. They're looking to make the jump. They commit onto Arteezy. Bursted, almost dead off the bat. Loda engaging here as well. He does have the Wraith King ult going. The Queen of Bane ult almost kills himself off as Arteezy pops the Eclipse. It's almost only hitting Triads. Again, Bulldog on point. PPD in danger now in the trees. There's the orb forward. S4 going to pick him up. 4 have fallen. Fear will be the last man down. They've slain the old man. They've wiped out EG, and Alliance are going to just power charge their way down the bottom lane. Now they can look for that first lane of Rex.
This is kind of almost approaching that tap out point for EG. They probably have at most one last fight in them, but Alliance's lead is just almost insurmountable.
I've got some good news for the EG fans. They got the tower.
I thought you were going to say it's a best of 3, LD. I was like, good news, it's a best of 3. EG, the team, more so than anyone else, who can come back from a loss. Like, pro players all across the board will say, you win it, you go 1-0 ahead in the best of 3, you're normally feeling pretty good, pretty confident. The one exception is when you're versus EG. You get up 1-0 against EG and you're thinking, like, oh crap, what's coming our way in game 2? What's coming our way in game number 3? And Alliance still thinking about game number 1 for now. They haven't sealed the deal just yet. They take a melee racks in the bottom lane and playing things very cautiously. Will back off and wait for their next, like, they're kind of the reset. The next level of items, wait for their ultis to come back up. The Wraith King reincarnation still not online, and there's a few more items they can pick up. Even something as simple as like a Puck Dagon 5. His ability to instantly kill someone like the Luna just makes the fight so difficult.
He almost solo killed the Luna at the very start of the fight. That was vicious stuff from S4.
Darkseer was forced to mech, and the only heal that was applied was really on the Luna, who was solo Dream Coiled. So it wasn't really efficient use of the mech for EG, but it's essential. They weren't going to win the fight without a Luna. They weren't going to win the fight regardless, it turns out. And
I just have to highlight how good S4's leadership appears to have been this game. He pinged out off in the jungle, literally on top of EG, while they were smoked. No wards to scout it out at that point. And as soon as they saw heroes, they immediately counter-spoke and go for it. He even used his blink off the bat just to get a little bit closer as quickly as possible. So their decision-making has just been, they've just been much more decisive this game than historically over the past year or so when they've struggled. Impressive stuff from Alliance. And now the Dagon continues to be leveled up. There's a haste rune bottled. Oh, this is just going to be the icing on the cake if he gets the jump.
This is the complexity smoke gank. We're down, we're out. 5-man smoke gank. We're down 20 to 25k gold.
Oh, look who's there to reveal it and to catch them out. Ward gets planted. Immediately S4 going to deward it. Nothing for PPD.
Yeah. And they have no like insta catch for someone like a Puck. There's no way to get it disabled.
He wants to go. They're going to start it off on Arteezy. Universe to the rescue, perhaps. He tries, but he gets silenced. He can't get anything off because S4 found the jump. The back wall comes through. The quad pulled over the top, but they're tanking their way through all the damage. It's a triple kill for Bulldog and an insta-GG. And Ultra in the end. No mercy from Alliance. The Swedes are now on top, leading 1-0 already.
They just pummeled them. That was a brutal opening here in a best of 3. That Alliance makes a huge statement in game number 1. From start to finish, they won the lanes, and I got to give, as far as the dominance in this game, all goes back to the Alliance support duo. Their ability to figure out what the Darkseer was up to. They get that first blood, then Ake goes mid. EGM and Ake, to me, the MVPs of that game as far as just the early game going so well for Alliance. And when Alliance gets a good early game start with a draft like that they're so comfortable with, that you know S4's Puck is going to take control of, there's no looking back. So absolutely phenomenal support play coming out from Alliance.
Oh, the crowd already giving Alliance a loud roar of approval.
And the scariest thing is it's an Io Dazzle. I think EG's thinking like, oh, they've got Io Dazzle. It's going to be a passive, slow laning phase. But no, Io Dazzle, let's go aggressive. Let's tether the Dazzle, get Poison Touch, and just go for kills. Like, that was the most unexpected thing for EG, I think, that completely set them up this game.
By the way, I don't know, I think the viewers did get to see that line of staff just trying to keep the fans at bay. They are so animated here. They would absolutely swarm the Alliance players without it, so my God, what a showing here in game number 1. Alliance, they come out swinging gods. You mentioned EG, historically the masters of adaptation, but they've already played one game. in the group stage. They couldn't adapt here for game 1 of the best of 3, so they are going to have their work cut out for them. That's for sure.
Absolutely. I think for EG, even being like the kings of comeback, whether it's coming out of the lower bracket, coming back in a best of 3, best of 5, whatever it may be when they're down, this is one of their hardest tests. This is an Alliance team who is playing so well together as a team, has a patch that suits them perfectly. They've got all their heroes just working well as a unit, and I mean, Alliance going forward, despite the fact they're versing EG, heavy favorites.
Well, I spoke to Dendi before the match, and he said he felt Alliance had the best team play of any team at the tournament, even more so than EG, who played well to get here. So we'll see if EG can find the answers, guys. This was game 1. Game 2 in this best of 3 grand finals for StarLadder Season 13 continues after this.
E-Gaming Bets. We accept bets on computer games online since 2011. Referral system for regular users and the first deposit bonus. Gaming devices store and the best choice of payment systems. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, Counter-Strike and StarCraft, World of Tanks and League of Legends. EGB.com. You know for sure who's going to win.
Welcome back to the panel here for StarLadder iLeague Star Series Finals. What a first game. Such dominant performance. Alliance able to just, what seemingly, it seemed like, they crushed EG. 12 minutes into the game, the IO of Team Alliance had more net worth than mid Queen of Pain. Winter, what went wrong for EG?
I think they lost the laning phase too hard. I think like David mentioned during the game that the Wiz and the Dazzle did a lot early game. They weren't expected to be so aggressive.
Yeah.
I think the two important things that happened early was they made a really good rotation to kill the Darkseer, because usually how the Darkseer plays right now is they push the lane with Iron Shell and then they move towards the camp on the side. And at the start of the game, EG were having 4 heroes to defend that camp to make sure it didn't get blocked. But Alliance didn't come at the start. They came after the laning phase begun. So Darkseer got caught. But the thing is, the interesting thing was they dewarded the wards, they placed the sentry. So they actually, Universe actually saw the 2 heroes running in, but he was like, oh, maybe I have enough time to finish this camp, get my level 2 and get out. But he got greedy and he got punished.
You just don't expect a Dazzle IO to be able to pressure that much.
I mean, it's not like Dazzle IO. It's like he saw them and he got greedy. Like they killed the ward, so they definitely knew that they were around the vicinity.
Right. He just didn't, well, maybe like
he didn't expect to die to those
exactly,
heroes.
yeah.
So K-pop Scant, you were the 2 analysts that were wrong. we actually removed the only analyst that was right. Luminous taking a break for this one, but he actually predicted properly that Alliance was able to take the game.
He got off because he got right. He
yes,
got to take a break.
you know, you deserved it, you earned it. We make these guys work a bit harder because why were you wrong, Scant?
Well, there's 2 things that stand out the most to me. The one is, it's already been hinted at, the Dazzle and the IO.
Yeah.
Something that's really impressive about Alliance, and we were comparing before the game, 2013 to now. Usually, in 2013, they didn't play as aggressively because their supports just stacked the jungle.
Yeah.
Right. They're picking the same supports, but they're still winning the lane stage with them. And these are not supports that if you said to Winter, pick 2 supports that are going to go own the lanes, he wouldn't probably say Wisp and Dazzle, I think. I mean, it's not that they're bad, but
they're not
They're not
They're
the like
defensive
go-to.
heroes.
They didn't adjust the heroes they picked, but they found new things to do with them that were very useful. And the second thing I wanted to get to, actually, most important in the whole game, I think, is that S4 beat Sumail in mid.
Yeah.
S4 beat Sumail, and then S4 just got too much. Over here, actually, we're going to see that Sumail amazingly actually gets the kill on the Dazzle. But I don't know if we have it in the highlight clip, but he's going to come back to the lane, and S4 is going to solo kill him. 1v1 once he's back in the lane. And then S4 just controlled the rest of the game. He went to the top lane. He forced everyone to TP out. This is this fight coming up right here.
Yeah, Bullock being kept alive. This is where the Dazzle and Io come together to basically turn this entire fight around.
They knew he had an invis rune here. They placed a sentry, but the sentry was a little too far back, and they were waiting for S4 to commit, but he didn't. He was just waiting for his dream coil. It was like 10 seconds of cooldown right at that moment, and they decided, okay, maybe S4 is ganking another lane. So they decided to be aggressive on top, but he was just patiently waiting at top.
Do you guys agree with me that if S4 doesn't do so well in lane, like I think the entire game is different? I think it's like the most fundamental thing. I mean, it's good that the Wisp and the Dazzle shut down the Darkseer that way, but I think that the puck doing so well is like #1 ingredient in Alliance looking so good this game.
Yeah, because of that, they were able to free up their supports to go and defend top as well, because I think EG really wanted to take that Tier 1 tower top a lot faster than they did.
Yep.
They pressured it constantly, and they kept getting rebuffed and rebuffed and rebuffed every time they tried to push that lane. And they had a Jakiro Witch Doctor Luna. Like that, you expect that tower to die 5 to 6 minutes, not 12.
That was thanks to Bulldog. He made a few really nice plays, like he uses the treants. I think that was the first push. He draws the creep away, so he buys time for his team to actually come over to defend, like, especially the puck. And like a lot of space was like bought by his micro with the treants. He scouted the positioning of the enemy heroes as well.
And the treant micro is also a reason why Eclipse was just not a factor this game.
Yeah, basically what EG had their lineup, they gave away all the split push heroes for Alliance, and they had a plan. They wanted to go 5-man with Darkseer, Jakiro, and Luna. But it just didn't work because their laning phase, like Sky mentioned, just went way too poorly. And a large portion of that had to do with the mid losing so badly. So Park was able to do too much to help the other lanes, like especially the top lane. All the fight was actually on top lane. And Darkseer was already shut down after he got killed first blood in the jungle.
Is there in the laning stage anything you feel like EG could have done differently in terms of rotations? Once you figured out that your mid's doing poorly, you rotate
Not
people
much
over?
though, because Witch Doctor and Jakiro are both heroes that you want to get a lot of levels. Like, I would consider both of them are very similar position supports. Both needs levels, and you want to push.
In this fight, sorry, just in this fight, Loda's ulti cooldown like right before he died. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I mean, at this point the game's pretty over. But carry on with.
Yeah, basically, at this point the game was, like you mentioned already, very difficult for EG. But yeah, I think the laning phase just went too badly for them. And you talk about what else can they do? I think it's just, I don't think the supports could have done much. Like even if you wanted the Witch Doctor to go over, Puck would be fine. It's not like Witch Doctor is a support that can pressure the enemy Puck a lot. It's just down to the individual skills of the two players, and S4 outplayed the Queen of Pain very, very hard. And so there was not much they could have done as supports that game. I don't think they could have done more.
And it's not that I don't think Alliance had a stronger draft for the lane stage. I think it's as you said, it's
got
outplayed.
outplayed,
So the only option then, if they want to react to it in the draft, is they could target S4's heroes, because I think that EG will feel Sumail can outplay S4, especially if S4 is not on his best heroes. So maybe they try and take out the bat and the puck, and those are like I think pretty clearly S4's best heroes.
Yeah.
That could be one way to approach the next game.
That means that they leave the Chen in the pool.
Well, this time they have first pick.
They should have first pick, unless they really won't side with their.
I'm pretty sure they'll pick first pick.
I'm pretty sure
because they had second pick last time, and that's the other thing we didn't talk about last time, but it makes a huge impact in this kind of matchup. Alliance had first pick, gives them an advantage in the draft, and EG gonna have first pick probably the next game. I've been saying that I think that EG might surprise the world and first pick the Chen. I mean, the nice thing about first pick is that you can use two bans and you can use your first pick also as a counter pick.
Right.
Do you think that EG might play Chen?
I'm not sure though. I don't think they will. But because like judging by the recent changes that they made with Fierce Hero Pool, there might be a chance. I wouldn't say there's no chance at all.
I think PPD will play it.
Oh, you think PPD will
Well,
play
he played Enchantress. Do you remember at TI4 they had that Enchantress Ursa strat?
Oh, yeah. He was the one who played the Enchantress.
If he can play Enchantress, can't he play Chen? Is it harder to play Chen? It's a bit harder, maybe.
It's a bit harder, but it's very similar. But it's like the role as well. Because Fear used to be the player that takes more farm in this team. So,
But that's like Alliance. Ake plays Chen in Alliance.
Yeah, Aki plays a much less greedy.
yeah,
Chen.
he plays it not like Puppy. Yeah, I get it.
So maybe PPD can play that kind of Chen?
Maybe, it's possible. They're all pro players, so they can probably play any hero. just if they wanted to.
I mean, yeah, PPD's talked about that several times about how if they ever feel that they really need to pick a hero, they just can pick it for fear.
I think it was just like the overall strategy the last game, because when they go for like the 5-man type of lineup, which is much less late game, like usually EG doesn't do that. We've been talking on the panel a lot where EG, Secret, Alliance are teams that go a lot on focus, that they want to get heroes that are really good throughout the game and in the late game as well.
Right.
That was the first time I see EG in this tournament. They go for such an all-in type of lineup where if they lose the laning phase, it's so difficult for them.
So how do you think they adjust like strategy-wise? I'm sorry. Rudy.
No, we have been talking about EG in previous panels a lot about how they draft slightly greedy and how other teams let them get away with it. I think this is one of the first times that we see EG actually getting punished for that very fact of drafting so versatile.
I think it wasn't like greedy in the sense, they weren't really too greedy. It's just that it was very all in, you know. Their heroes are all meant for one reason, 5-man push towers, and once they can't achieve that, especially they can't take the tier 1 at top, the safe lane tower, I mean for the Luna's tower, then it all went down. It was so difficult for them. So I think that if you replace, I was thinking during the draft that maybe if they replace the Luna, I was expecting an Ember actually more, because they had Darkseer, and Ember would have given them more late game, and it would have also given them a lot of power to be aggressive early, because when you get level 7 and you have Iron Shell, it's very strong.
What's funny for me is I think the reason they pick Luna and not Ember is because they want a slightly stronger lane stage. And, and then they lose the lane stage anyway.
I think that too, but I think most important is like if you look at the way they were drafting and picking, I think they had a solid idea that they wanted to give away all the red heroes and they wanted to use a push red. They had a clear plan what they wanted to do instead of they trying to counter pick the enemy like what we see Secret did against Alliance.
I think they also wanted to kind of maybe try to force Bulldog into the jungle early. Like, they didn't want to let him stay there, but it just didn't work.
Yeah, I was going to say, did Alliance get first pick again? So they did use the bans and the first pick. No, they switched
EG
it around.
got first pick.
Yeah, well, before it was the other way. They did use both their first pick and their 2 bans to counter pick, but it's not the Chen. So they're actually giving away the Chen.
Yeah.
Do Alliance just jump on the Chen now, or?
I think you do. I think Chen's too good to not.
Which hero would you pick up together with the Chen? Ooh, Lone Druid perhaps.
Lone Druid has been their most consistent first pick.
They've been a lot of, if they
Lone
can't get the Bed Rider, they want Lone Druid Puck.
They might get Puck though here, because judging by their picks before.
They also might just not think that EG was going to pick the Chen.
Yeah, but then EG would ban the Chen after.
That is a good second phase ban, you're right.
So what's the Puck versus Bat matchup like?
So they do go for it.
If they get Puck, is Puck good against Bat mid 1v1, do you think?
I don't think they'll get the Puck.
I think it depends on like a lot of individual play. I definitely don't think that it's going to be a matchup that one has a very heavy favor.
But I agree with Shiva. Like you expect they'll probably ban the Puck now in the next phase.
We've actually seen, so Smil plays Bat Rider in offlane a lot, and that leaves Arteezy going mid. We've seen him mid on the OD, actually in this very scenario where they had a Bat Rider offlane.
10 seconds remaining.
Are we going to see OD here? Does it fit?
Is OD good against Bear? Other than I know he's the old school like lane counter, but does he work well like mid game against Bear? Do you think?
It's pretty good at killing the Bear, but like you mentioned, it's like the overall strategy. The OD is a hero that is very slow pace, so I'm not sure whether it will be good because Chen Lone Druid is not slow pace. It's very fast pace. They're gonna be always taking your tower, trying to force the issue. So playing slow pace might be not so good for their early game. Since like what we saw in the last game, their early game was they just got overrun by Alliance.
So the thing is now when Alliance get Chen, every strategy Alliance have depends on having a really good early game, having a really good lane stage. And with these 2 openers, the Lone Druid's going to be fine on his own. And that means the rest of their heroes can focus on just 2 lanes. And one of their heroes is a Chen. And so I feel like that already gives them an advantage in those lanes. And EG need to, I mean, they have to have a plan for like, how do you stop the Chen from winning the lane stage for Alliance?
And I really like this Witch Doctor counter pick. Does pretty well with the Chen. We've seen 2 real mains like support counter picks to Chen, and one in Crystal Maiden, which I didn't think was too great, but
no, I did lost as well.
Yeah, and then Witch Doctor because of the stun being able to go full duration on the creeps.
If you look at how EG were drafting the past few series, they're always open with Witch Doctor because Witch Doctor is good versus Furion. He's good versus Chen. He's good versus all the heroes.
The Bear as well, all the pushing heroes.
I think just their Witch Doctor has had a couple of things, kind of indirect buffs to him. I think Aether Lens, he's one of the better carriers. He's really good against a lot of the meta heroes. I think that's why we're seeing him so high up in a lot of these drafts.
My question, Witch Doctor's good against Chen, but the more specific question I want to know is how are they going to make sure that Chen doesn't win the lane stage? Is Witch Doctor good against Chen in the lane stage already? Because you don't have high enough level cask, I feel, to like... And you also can't... Is Witch Doctor always going to be there when the Chen comes in with his creeps?
I think against Chen, you want to have 2-1-2 setup though. Like Witch Doctor would help one lane, and you want someone else to help the Bat Rider to secure the lanes. Then you force the Chen to decide where he can help. If you do standard 1-1-3 setup against a jungler, the jungler can pressure 2 lanes, and 2 lanes will be under a lot of early game, harass from the Chen. So I think that the laning phase is very important against the Chen. Like how you place your lanes.
But if they're doing 2-1-2, then they need a really strong support to deal with the lone druid.
Yeah, I'm thinking if they... I mean, if it's 2-1-2, I think the Witch Doctor will be against the lone druid, and then they will pick another hero for the Bat Rider. Maybe like a strength hero like Undying or whatever. Like
they picked the Ogre
hero.
before as well.
Ogre?
Yeah, they picked it in the previous games.
Yeah, it's similar.
It's good with the bear, really
Ogre, Undying.
Whoa, a lot of targeted S4 bans.
And some...
I actually think
PPD
Universal...
ban with 3.
Do you think? Sorry, I think Universe is going to play Bat in this game.
Possibly.
I have a feeling that Sumail wants another shot at S4. So unless they might put the Bats in the mid lane, but I think if the Bat's going to the off lane as we're expecting, then I mean Universe can play a good Bat.
They did it one time, right? I remember there was one game Sumail played the Bat in the event.
Yeah.
Universe definitely has more experience with Bats, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do it.
The game where
it's still pretty open for me now, though.
The game where Sumail played Bat was where they had a Void. They wanted to have both.
It's true.
Actually, no, he played Bat twice. Sumail played one mid Bat and one off lane Bat, I think.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Right.
Because when they did the OD pick, it was Sumail on the Bat. You're right.
So right now, Alliance usually goes for the Rubik with the Chen. They are one of the few teams that specifically wants the Rubik. Like some teams would prefer Venge more. Like personally, I like Venge and Chen more because of and they're on Dire on the Roshan. But I know that they like the Rubik more because of a few reasons. Like it's a bit easier to initiate early with the lift. It's farther range, and you have the no feel for the push.
Right.
Those are the two things that are really good.
If you grab one of those small creeps for your push as
oh,
well.
this game they went for the Venge.
Oh wow.
It's because there's a
oh yeah, because of the Bat Rider. Yeah.
That's smart. That's smart.
But actually, I think this. So I mean, it's a slightly better pick because of the Bat and because of the Witch Doctor too. But it actually weakens Alliance's lane phase a bit. It like puts a lot more pressure on the Chen because Venge is not so good in lane stage.
It's okay though. I think Venge is pretty good now. Because you can, if you see how, like especially Peter Panam, how he plays the Venge, sometimes he gets the terror at level 1, and then you howl and the offlane just basically, if it's 1v1, he can't trade with you. Because Venge has such good stats and armor.
So Universe Bat Rider definitely an option, but we've also seen in the past Universe Zeus.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is more likely to be Sumail Zeus, though. I think them not picking the Rubik is what led into this Zeus pickup, to try to just to have some strong counter push against the Chen creeps.
I think it's basically even if they went for the Rubik, they might still go for Zeus because they wanted a mid that can just D-push, We've seen a lot of teams use Zeus against Chen. I mean, it might be one of the considerations, but I think that mainly they wanted a mid that can D-push. And it works really well with Bat Rider, because what works well with Bat Rider is vision. You want to be able to give him vision so he can lasso.
Oh, that's a good point.
I think they actually, the game that EG lost against LGD was the one where Sumail played Zeus. I mean, that's obviously not significant, but...
Evil geniuses
can they pick AA here? Do they actually play AA? Have they played AA in the tournament?
They haven't played in the tournament, but they could definitely. I mean, PPD won a TI5 on.
They picked. Do you remember they picked AA in the grand final, like out of nowhere? So
yeah,
I like the Spectre. I like the Spectre pick.
I mean, it's synergy with their draft already.
So it's global. It's global.
Alliance ban AA now, surely they've got it.
It's like. But I don't know if EG plays the AA.
No, they played it in TI5 grand finals.
Yeah, PPD. It was the $6 million.
Yeah, but the worrying part about picking an AA into the lineup is, again, Witch Doctor and AA, I would classify them both as same position support. You need a lot of levels.
Well, who are you going to sacrifice?
Yeah, it's very hard to play like this. I know it's good with the draft, but it's very hard to play.
PPD kind of is okay with the... Yeah, they're okay with just a really poor AA. They've done that before.
Well, they're not going to get any AA, not even a poor one.
Yeah.
So let's see what... S4 is probably going to go Magnus this game,
yeah, because I was trying to think of $6 million Vortex because it buffed the damage of the Echo Slam.
Yeah.
The other hero that he's played in S4's played in this tournament is Death Prophet. Do you think they could pick Death Prophet?
Oh, we're seeing a wave.
They might prefer Magnus a bit more because of Juggernaut. Yeah, but Death Prophet is also.
We have not seen the Magnus from S4 at all.
Yeah, he hasn't played it recently, but it is one of his classic heroes.
It's like you want to have a playmaker mid. I think that's one of he plays like 3 best, like Bat Rider, Park, and Magnus. Those 3 are his best playmaking mid heroes.
I mean, that's the thing about how we talk about Alliance, the defining thing about them really is that they have an offlane player who plays carry and a mid player who always plays utility. That's
their roles are different based on their lanes.
Yeah. Bulldog has been averaging something like, I haven't looked at it since yesterday, but he was averaging something like 100.
I mean, it's not fair to compare him to the other offlaners because he gets different treatment from his team compared to the other.
That's what I'm saying. He gets the highest farm share out of his team, like significantly more. Like no other offlaner gets that much.
Does it have to be the Magna because they banned the DP? Although I think actually the heroes on EG are quite good at stopping Nag from blinking in.
Yeah, have Zeus and Spectre, so they might go for something else. They need a tempo controller for sure. Someone to make space.
Left for that, I mean, Lina? Is that still an option? Is that too squishy?
I don't think they'll pick Lina. Lina gets picked as a...
He takes space, Lina takes space.
10 seconds
It gets picked more as a carry these days, like a damage
I don't know, man.
shooter.
Like Magnus seems like the only... What other playmakers are there right now?
Nice
talk. There we go. That's actually an S4 hero as well.
Yeah, that's good. Really good versus the Bat Rider. It's a counter. We saw that a lot from MVP Hot 6, where they always pick Night Stalker against Bat Rider to limit the vision.
Yeah, if EG is going to be trying to go for this global vision, like always knowing like how they're going to gank, where they're going to gank, it's good for Night Stalker to be able to try to scout that out a little bit.
His laning phase against Zeus should also be really good. So overall, Alliance got their heroes.
Yeah, S4's also been really big on getting ganks like immediately after runes. So like, he's been like
S4 haste rune is big because
he was helping out top 4 minutes into the game last game. So like I think this works out for S4 a lot.
So, Winter, you're saying that you think that the Witch Doctor will be against the Bear, which means it's the PPD hero and they're picking the Fear one now?
Oh, maybe a Fear hero. I think a Fear hero.
You think so? Okay, because usually Fear's the one who goes with the off lane and PPD stays at the safe lane.
Yep.
So
but then again, I think that they might also consider they might need 3 heroes because Lone Druid versus Spectre lane is so weak. They might need all the supports to help the Spectre here.
Does the Bat need help?
As long as you stack for him.
Yeah, I think they'll just stack for him and kind of sort of soft sack the offlane early.
PPD actually really doesn't mind doing that.
And they're gonna block the camp. So do you see in the last game where how both teams prioritize in blocking the offlane camps? Like both sides of the camps were blocked from both teams.
Yeah.
So those are the few things that are really, really important in this game.
We actually saw a game yesterday where I was asking Winter, why does PPD not go to the offlane when Universe left it? And we saw it because he was just stacking. So he'll be very happy to do that. And I think it makes good sense then that they might just both be...
Is this just a dazzle for PPD? I feel like that's almost too safe, but
they need a tanker like Undying. They need a strength hero.
I still think it's the Fear hero coming.
Yeah, Undying or what? Spirit Break. They need something like a tanky.
A Venomancer.
Oh, defending the push. And then it fits their lineup because it has synergy, team fight. Venom ulti plus Zeus ulti plus Spectre ulti.
Okay,
so
Winter.
A lot of magic damage.
we want to see a third game. So what does EG need to do to get a third game? Quick answer. Anything that the viewers have to look out for?
They have to survive the laning phase.
Yeah.
And get into the mid game where they have superior team fight.
Okay, let's see if EG makes it to that mid-game. Winter wants to have him there. Let's see if the casters can take him there as well. It is time for LD and Gods with Game 2 of EG versus Alliance.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready for Game 2 of EG versus Alliance. Gods, do you think EG have the draft to take it?
I think they do, but for me, it's just Alliance who's been playing better as a team. People have been asking, are Alliance back, LD? Let me tell you, Alliance are back, baby! They're back, LD!
You are the most disgusting turncoat I have ever seen in my life.
Hey, I was just casters cursing them all throughout the tournament, helping them on their way. No, Alliance are just, this is a team who's won over the hearts of Dota 2 fans all around the world. I mean, you can't doubt them at this point. They have proven time and time again, they can't be stopped.
Well, they've proven that you were wrong, and now you're admitting it.
I am wrong, LD. Gods was left.
But Alliance was right. Here we go. Game 2 about to begin. They're ready for it. Ake on the Chen. Off the bat, makes an aggressive move into the enemy woods. He does get the sentry down here to block that hard camp. Also an observer ward planted down off near the mid lane. So we get underway with PPD. None the wiser from the looks of things. They did not scout out the Chen. As for the Dire off lane, no such attempt, at least not yet.
And you can see Bulldog, he's protecting his big camp. That's becoming a big part of this new patch with that new camp by the Secret Shop, is positioning your heroes such that you can defend it being blocked. A hero like Lone Druid needs to be able to farm it. Bat Rider, maybe to a slightly lesser extent, but maybe EG just look to contest the lanes. For now, both supports headed down bottom, though.
The rune's about to spawn now. The crowd is ready to go. I see an American flag there in the audience.
The battle begins.
Looks like Sumail will get to the bounty rune bottom, and S4, the one up top. So there's going to be a Night Stalker versus Zeus mid. Very unusual matchup. And I think, like Winter said, Night Stalker actually does surprisingly well in this lane. Very tanky. The chain lightning spam doesn't bother him as much as the squishier mids. He can also just void him and run at him, and the right clicks really hurt as Zeus has low armor and very poor move speed.
And it's also the fact that on top of that, Alliance have a Chen, a hero who's very good at ganking mid-heroes with no escape, such as Zeus, such as Death Prophet, and as a result, there's always that threat of an early Ake smoke rotation catching Sumail by surprise.
S4 just trying to get the bottle out as quickly as possible. He's only got the 2 tangos, and he should have it with this wave. So it is going to be the Universe Batrider in the end, not Sumail. He heads to the off lane, and we see EG running their tri-lane, but Bulldog is getting his customary early start in the jungle. Definitely one of the beautiful things about running a lone druid in the off lane.
Yeah, and something that EG have just kind of decided they can't really contest. They're not going to be able to prevent it. A lot harder to block that camp from the Radiant side. You have to go so deep to the other side of the map. And S4, bottle already picked up. He'll be just fine, despite all the early harass coming his way.
Yeah, he's already got 5 stick charges as well.
Yep. He's just keeping the courier there. He'll bottle crow once and then try and secure himself probably a 2-minute rune. Even if he doesn't get a 2-minute rune, he'll just keep on bottle crowing throughout the early game.
Yeah, so mid seems like it'll be mostly a wash early on here. As for the cores, we are going to see Juggernaut getting essentially free farm now in the offlane with Batrider retreating out of the lane back into his own jungle.
Yeah, he's effectively quad laning. He is actually at the pull camp with the Witch Doctor. Needs to get level 2 before he can really go farm any kind of stacks. Has the 1 point in Firefly, needs the Napalm on top of this, and for now, Fear is just kind of helping him out. He's pinging, he's saying, let's get this raid, deny the range creep, then let's kill it. Just good kind of creep equilibrium control coming out from EG.
Fear stealing his last hits. Yeah, like
the,
you said,
the flying
mostly about
courier
the levels
fun.
here.
They make sure the camp respawns though, and both teams will be going kind of greedy in the laning stage, but as far as greedy goes, it's Alliance who have the offlaner who loves to farm and he gets more with farm.
And they have the Chen. And if you leave Ake alone and he doesn't feel a need to gank, he can get a lot.
I mean, you look
done
at Alliance heroes just in the minimap, there are 5 heroes scattered around the map, no one really protecting anyone, just everyone kind of getting their own farm in different locations. EG have 3 heroes come together in the tri lane, the Batrider nearby jungling as well. So very much like just from sheer positioning, Alliance are getting advantage, getting more farm, more experience out of the lane.
Yeah, you can see they've got 4 heroes who are decent in terms of CS here. Even the Venge getting some, and meanwhile, EG with 3 heroes with a collective 7 CS.
And it's always that scary threat of the Chen ganks I mentioned earlier. They could be coming anytime, and that's something EG are going to be wary of. They're already sending the Witch Doctor towards the mid lane, expecting that kind of a rotation to be happening soon. And with Courier heading top, I wonder if that's going to be delivering something such as a smoke to the Chen to try and make such a move.
Yeah, it's a Zeus mid, but with everybody kind of missing and in the jungle, I imagine Alliance may be expecting support just be camping out that mid lane. So.
And that's the thing, like if you're Alliance, you're like, well, they're going to expect the Chen smoke rotation. They've got a Witch Doctor who can just cast the creep.
Let's farm, baby.
Yeah, let's farm. Like EG theoretically either have to, if they're protecting mid lane and there's no ganks coming, they're wasting time, they're not farming. So the safer play for Alliance is just to say, well, Nightstalker's doing fine. He's actually getting plenty of farm in this mid lane. He doesn't actually need the ganks.
They can also just take the tier 1 early. We've seen this from Alliance that if they don't see gank opportunities, they'll just group up with the Chen plus whoever the pushing carry is, and they'll look for the early tower, which is precisely what's happening right now in the top lane. They do have a Witch Doctor here, but against such a large army with the healing ward going, it's not something that Fear can stop on his own. Maybe the Batrider heads up top, but he's also in danger of being killed off should he engage.
Nicely played by Fear to actually draw the aggro of some of the creep wave off of the tower, which will delay the push and also get him a bit of farm and experience. So.
It's still going, though. They've got quite a decent amount remaining in the lane with the Chen creeps.
This will be enough for the early tier 1.
Very fast tier 1. We'll see who gets the last hit for Alliance. EGM just scouting a bit as they look to secure it, and the creeps get it.
This is just such typical Alliance. They're winning the laning stage. And not just like by a small margin, they're getting more out of most of the lanes, and they've got a jungling hero. It's just time and time again, they draft these heroes, they play the early game in such a way that you can't pressure them.
Well, it
or
certainly
teams aren't
helps
pressuring them.
when the other team has a Spectre and a Zeus. These are not the lane dominators.
Yeah.
That's
for EG, everything comes together when they hit that Batrider Blink Dagger.
They want Bulldog. They are going to connect with the Gale. This might be a big kill for Arteezy. Bulldog trapped out. Even the ward's coming through. Sumail says, that's mine. Pops the ult, gets the experience, and first blood is claimed.
I love that. Whew. Brutal.
They should do it for every event, whether it's like an ultra kill or...
I hope there's a rampage. I hope we get a rampage at some point.
I was mentioning this to Winter yesterday during our cast, that it's actually more intense than when a team actually wins a match. The first blood animation and noise is more just
Typically,
deafening
by
and
the time the
crazy.
GG's called, like, you kind of know it's already over. It doesn't happen in like one sudden moment. So,
well, if this series goes at all like the way the group stage match did, maybe it comes down to an epic base race. Though, not sure EG quite have the horses for that against the Lone Druid, but yeah, a man can dream.
I mean, as far as EG, what they're looking to do, it's not winning the laning stage. So they've accepted the fact Alliance will get a bit more early on. They can be greedy with the Chen. They are going to look for a kill here. Nice cast coming out from the Witch Doctor. The bolt follow-up, and S4 face booting away with a wand.
There's the stick.
He'll survive, and importantly, the Zeus ultimate was on cooldown. Otherwise, that would have been a kill. But that was something S4 was also wary of and managed to play around.
Well, still, they're getting a lot of help here for Sumail. Off to a way better start than last game, but Chen creeps are moving in. They want to contest this rune, and it is currently nighttime. Sumail silenced up, nuked down by Ake, and it's going to fall. S4 is going to hunt for more. Moving on to Fear, juking a bit through the trees, but the Void does almost half his health and damage. There's the heal. Can they turn this one? Fairy Fire gets committed. They're going to nuke down the Chen creeps. Alliance will end their pursuit, but only for a moment. They re-engage. Fear taking another Void. Cask bouncing out. They just can't seem to wrangle the Vampire. S4 able to back away. So much space created for him.
And that Zeus kill, very big for Alliance, slows down one of the big tempo controls for EG and one of the kind of the key cores for them. Something he just completely got caught by surprise. I think for Sumail, he's like, oh, I can get this rune because Night Stalker, we almost killed him. Surely he's back to Fountain, but he had the 10 one charges, I want to say, as well as a salve. So the fact he still had a salve allowed him to back off. It was even more than that because he's got the upgraded magic wand, meant he was full HP. He contests the rune, and Sumail's just something like, wait, how are you full HP? How are you actually able to come here and contest this? So really heads-up play from Alliance, knowing that they were still in a position to try and contest it. And Aether Lens Night Stalker coming up? Is that?
Could just be a casual cloak as
yeah,
well.
rush into like a hood/pipe. Early magic resistance against Zeus, even the casual cloak, always amazing.
I mean, honestly, having a longer range Void or Silence doesn't sound too bad. But it could be a casual one. We'll wait and see. I mean, for me, the story of the game is not only did the lanes go well early, but now Alliance have just created so much space for the side lanes. And on the back of that, Bulldog's Lone Druid is catching up bottom. They're just leaving a Spectre there currently. And up in the top lane, it's been absolute free farm for Loda, who's 8 CS up on the enemy Spectre, who had a full tri-lane the entire game until recently.
I don't think EG have to particularly worry. They won't be pleased with the early game, but their lineup's timing is Batrider, Blink Dagger, you find a Blink Lasso, you've got Haunt, you've got Thunder God's Wrath. These ultis, when combined with the Batrider's pick-off potential, is kind of like the bread and butter of EG's strategy right now. That's really at the heart of what they're trying to do. Find pick-offs with Bat, then transition into the late game with a farm Zeus, with, more importantly, a farm Spectre. There's almost no doubt in my mind this will be a fighting Spectre build. We'll see the Urn, the drums, possibly even something like a Manta style. He's already got the phase in the Urn, probably something like a drums to follow. Yeah, Bracer recipe. Oh, so it's a Bracer recipe for Loda as well. He's going for the fighting items. And I think he knows that what Arteezy's going to do is try and fight, so he's trying to match it with his own rotations, with his own involvement in this game.
Yeah, Arteezy last game was playing a very squishy carry in the Luna. This time around, looks like he will be tanking up. Spectre can take a lot more chances in fights and live to tell the tale, so I think he's got a better shot at not chain feeding this time around. Luna is just not the play from behind hero. Universe back to the jungle. He's closing in with a Blink Dagger now, up to 1,700 gold, roughly, and could have like around a 10 to 11 minute Blink Dagger, it would seem, at this rate, but already Bulldog with the 9-minute Midas in the offlane when he got tri-laned. It just shows you the importance of warding off that hard camp.
I mean, typical Alliance game. Bulldog's like middle of the pack in terms of net worth at 10 minutes in, then 20 minutes in. He's one of the most farmed heroes in the game.
Siege begins. Arteezy slowly working on the tower, but Ake is storming down the river, looking for the backstab. They've got the TP coming from the Night Stalker. Darkness is available. Arteezy on the run. This will be a big kill. The first Void is going to connect. Fear's here with the cast. He's going to let it fly. Bounces to the bear. Pretty much perfect bounces, but Arteezy still being chased out. Is going to use the Talon to try and juke through the trees. Well played, Fear. Able to get his buddy out safely. Very well done. Not giving up any kills against a big rotation from Alliance.
I like Arteezy's TP home because he can actually haunt back in and re-engage. They've got Sumail down here. EG want to fight.
Oh, he's invis. He can scout this out.
They've got no Batrider in fighting condition. It looks like Universe trying to complete his blink at top lane, not in fighting shape.
Do they want to try and burst down the Juggernauts? The ping came out from PPD. but that's a tough kill.
Yeah, it's
I'm
just
not
an
sure
Invis
this is
Zeus. Like,
defensible.
Sumail's like, okay, if there's only 3 heroes pushing, we could look to take this, but with the Jug rotation, that just secures this tier 1 tower. There is no way to defend this with Loda TPing in as well. And another, time and time again, we see Loda make sure he's there for the key moments of the game. And for Alliance, this was going to be one of them. If EG tried to defend this, he had to make sure he was there and ready to go. For EG, they're like, well, we haven't got the Batrider Blink. He's also got no mana right now. We can't fight this.
Just the nature of the EG draft. Spectre, Zeus, they take a while to really come online against these group up and fight strats, and until the bat has the blink, like you mentioned. Tough to quickly find a pick. EG did rotate out. They tried to put a little pressure on mid, but they don't have the best pushing lineup. The Venom Ward's decent, but outside of that, there's no Lone Druid or Lycan, Exort Invoker. No one who can quickly bulldoze towers. So we do see Alliance hold the mid lane, while they also make a move on bottom. They've planted down an aggressive Observer Ward, and they're going to sweep around behind Sumail. Even if TPs are ready, this is going to be a quick kill. 1, 2, and weeping. Sumail goes back to the well. No chance of escape. Great micro from Ake. Just completely caught him out.
And even Loda just doing the small things, like here, I'll give you a drum pop just to give that extra bit of movement speed to the Centaurs to make sure they get that Centaur Stomp initiation off. Because often it can be very hard with Centaurs to land that stun initiation if you haven't got something like an ensnare or a setup from a teammate. So Loda just making sure they get that kill with ease.
Yeah, they did. Oh, looks like Loda wants to make a go here on Arteezy, who's juking through the trees. He does have the Omni Slash, but Arteezy has gone for a couple points of dispersion, so I'm not sure he quite has the firepower to get a solo kill there.
Yeah, very tanky build, and even just having a bracer at this stage of the game probably means that he is somewhat survivable.
So at least for now, it does seem like a casual cloak on S4. He's gone back for the point booster, probably rushing the Aghanim Scepter here. And it's Alliance with all 3 cores on top. I feel like this has been the case for almost every game we've seen of them on the main stage.
Absolutely. Apart from that, I think one game against Secret where they just had such a terrible start with Secret just walking all over them. It's been Alliance just prioritizing winning the laning stage and going from there. And EG's got a great kind of defensive lamp, really good defending. The Plague Ward from the Venomancer Ward's just a great tool to have to defend towers, to give you scouting vision, to be really just annoying for Alliance to try and push and fight into. But they've still got to find pickoffs. If EG don't start getting some kills, I really worry for them.
Well, they are grouping up mid, but again, it's just a very slow chip away kind of push. Well, on the other side, Alliance have already bulldozed a second tower in the bottom lane, so that's 2 for them, as well as the tier 1 top. The Chen creeps working their magic all over the map, and this is while Bulldog continues his own farm now, up to 2,000 gold with the Midas already picked up. So it's going to be a fast Radiance again. And he's not even the most farmed hero on the team. That title goes to Loda, who generally has been getting the Battle Fury for an additional farm accelerant.
Yeah, and at some stage of the game, Alliance will just opt to 5-man. They want to make sure they have the protection against the swap, which is the Vengeful Spirit. Splitting up to farm is the one way EG can find those pickoffs and kills and use that to their advantage.
Thor going for the wraparound. He is going to get the smoke reveal. Now Universe with the Firefly away, quickly retreating. So they dodge the gank, but then the question becomes, do Alliance want to push anyway? Seems not. They're going to back off.
Fear trying to just get that level 6. We've seen him in EG's series yesterday against LGD on the Witch Doctor just make those amazing defensive plays when EG are getting dived at their towers.
They're moving in bottom now. This would be a big kill. There's the swap. Back towards the Chen army. 1. Oh, he misses the first stun. Just a little bit too hesitant there to pop it. And Arteezy will survive. He doesn't have a TP, though. He may have to dagger again to make his way out of here. I'm not sure if they even saw he didn't have one, as they're not attempting any sort of follow-up. He dodges the gank, but still, he's not farming during this time. Whereas you look at all of the Alliance cores, they're freely just vacuuming up creeps all around the map.
Yeah, and it's just like a Witch Doctor who's getting some farm priority at top lane, but that's, I mean, it's a comeback here in the sense that it can win you a team fight, but it's not going to be like a big late game carry for EG, so they need to make sure the farm's headed the Spectre's way.
The crowd wants some blood. They're looking for Alliance to make that next move aggressively.
A lot of time spent not farming for Spectre.
Yeah, that was a full minute plus. And now he's got a TP home. He's going to head back to the bottom lane, but while he's busy trying to hit creeps, Alliance are wailing away at towers.
This is where the Zeus men are really good defending.
Oh, Universe, he couldn't find the lasso. He's going to get voided for his trouble. Loda spinning back to safety. They want to at least kill off the bear here, but the mech is going to keep Bulldog's buddy in fighting shape. And now S4 wraps around from the south side.
They're bringing in Spectre, even though we didn't get the haunt in. He still wants. EG's still showing they want to fight this by rotating Spectre.
Can he really fight into this?
No, he's headed back bottom. Well, he's completely indecisive. He started coming mid. There was farm at the tier 3 tower, which he's like, well...
Well, he was really banking on the Universe Lasso there, I think, which is right when he popped the haunt.
And it's very unreliable when there's a Venge swap on the other team to instantly counter it.
It hurts.
It's the tower down.
They
EG
still have
just
the lasso,
delaying.
but they just have no opportunity to use it here. Not only is there the swap, there's also the send back on the Chen as well as the Hand of God. So Alliance have a lot of tools to deal with the burst.
Alliance's 5-man somewhat unstoppable at this point. EG's just looking to delay as much as possible. Venom Wards, Zeus Arc Lightning, very good tools to defend with. And Alliance able to just 5-man even pre-Radiance on the Bear. They just walk straight into the Roshan pit. They are not afraid of EG contesting this, and there's no real way or incentive for EG to try and stop this. They'd much rather just keep farming on the Spectre in the safe lane, push out the lanes as much as possible, and just prepare for the oncoming assault of Alliance that will happen now.
And that's the Relic. 3790 up on Bulldog. They got some good wards down as well. I believe S4 also closing in on the Aghanim Scepter. So with that, they're going to have even more map control. You've got the Bear to scout, the Night Stalker to give vision, the Wave of Terror. Alliance, they can really play the vision game with ease. And up on top of that, Loda is working towards his customary Battle Fury. Well on his way, too. I think he may have a component on the Courier. Yeah, he's already got the Claymore out.
Dire's top tower is under
Arteezy,
attack.
this could be bad. He can't afford to die here. Loda trying to catch him out. There's the Zeus ult. Just looking for a bit of scouting information. Arteezy has done a great job at dodging the ganks. But again, it almost doesn't matter because he's still being limited in terms of his farm.
And EG 1 kill at 17 minutes in. That is not what they expected when they draft the Zeus plus Spectre with Batrider. Yeah.
It should be a kill every time you get the lasso off, but
Alliance are just playing around that fact. They're 5-manning when they need to. When they're going onto EG's side of the map pushing, they're 5-manning. When they fall back, and the only time they split is times like this when they're just falling back to farm. And I think these are the times where EG need to be using smokes, trying to find those pickoffs, sending Batrider deep on the enemy side of the map. Even if it's just by himself or with a Witch Doctor, go for these 1 to 2-man smoke rotations and try and catch Alliance during these passive farming parts of the game. When Alliance are 5-manning, that's where EG say, let's try and delay it with the Zeus Venom, but we don't try and take a fight. I think their idea to try and get the lasso mid lane is perhaps not the approach to take against Alliance. You want to use the lasso around this period. When Alliance go for the 5-man, that's when you just split away and then do your own thing.
yeah, the problem is going to be the next time Alliance push, it will be a whole lot faster with the Radiance up on the Bear. A lot more damage to smack down the towers as well as fully maxed out passives too. So S4 now, Aghanim Scepter, just about complete. Should be coming out any moment. And with that, I imagine Alliance will be grabbing a gem and looking to really extend their vision and map control here. So they hit their timings. The Radiance, the Aghanims on the Night Stalker, the Battle Fury soon to come on the Juggernaut.
You just
everything they need.
Yeah, and you're taking away EG's really their primary and possibly only way of initiating a good team fight in the Batrider Lasso. When you've got the Night Stalker Aghanim Scepter vision, it just gets so tricky for EG. If anything, they need to be like just using a smoke to initiate Batrider for the Blink Lasso anytime it's nighttime, and life's going to get very difficult for EG. As soon as this next nighttime hits, I imagine it's time for Alliance to 5-man, take down some towers. They've got the Bear Radiance, they've got the Ag Scepter on S4, and it's all up to Arteezy just to farm away. This may actually be becoming a Radiance game just by nature because he needs to go for that big late game item that can actually also deal with the push a bit better. Manta Style's more the fighting item. Right now, EG's unable to team fight. They can't take on the 5-man of Alliance. It seems like Radiance may be more suited to this game.
Yeah, Manta isn't really that good when they're 5-manning because realistically, you're not likely to get much Desolate damage against Alliance.
He's still a long ways away. He was sitting on like 2.2k net worth. He went for all these early game small items, and as a result, we're not looking at a Radiance anytime soon for him.
Alliance will take the second to last outer tower. It honestly feels like they've just had a script, the same script every game, aside from the one that you mentioned versus Secret, and it's being executed to perfection thus far. S4 now with the Ags, he gives all the vision they need, so good luck jumping anybody if you are EG. We've yet to see a big lasso. In fact, I think we've yet to see any lassos. The one attempt came on mid, so Alliance, they push into the base. They work on the tower. The Bear beating away at it, very quickly bringing it down. They are going to get the lasso off onto Loda, but that's not the easiest kill. He just Blade Furies away, lasso committed, no follow-up whatsoever. Spectre does haunt into the fray, but what do they really get out of this? Batrider now jumping forward. He's going to get punished for this. Universe in too far. He's overextended. He may go down. The Glimmer Cape is going to keep him alive. Now Arteezy walks in, but the tower's down. They're fighting against the Bear Burn. This is going to hurt. It might leave a rash. Arteezy lucky he didn't get rooted there. Then the Omni Loda executes his counterpart and chases onwards. Bulldog grabbing both kills. And Alliance still in full fighting form here. They've even bought back on the Spectre and the Venno, but that's such a huge gold investment.
The healing ward of Juggernaut just wrecks when they go for these pushes. They put the bear on the high ground. The healing ward's just sitting there, can't be touched, healing up the bear, and EG's forced to go for a risky play.
Back. If he goes down here, Arteezy, he can't afford for this to happen. They got to get him out of there. Where's the root? Bulldog is asking for it, and he gets it. Universe could be next here on the high ground with the Death Ward. Is this enough to turn the fight? They are pretty loaded down. They are going to counterplay it. They get two. It's a dieback on the Spectre, though. It's such a huge expense.
Yeah, again, though, it's the Fear Witch Doctor keeping EG in this game. But they're overextending, LD. The Casting's going to catch up too, but they've already lost another core hero in the Batrider.
They don't have any of their carries. It's going to be up to S4 to backstab them if they want to turn this. Oh, PPD, very low. The creeps might be enough to bring him down here. Ake gets him with auto attacks. He now rushes forward. Sumail may also drop. Can he nuke down S4 in time? Another Void comes out. That's a triple for Ake. A net as well. No escape, and Sumail too will fall. Dieback on the Spectre. Team wipe on the rest. The crowd is loving it. EG, not so much.
This Alliance team has won over Minsk Arena through their just dominant play throughout the tournament, and
actually it was a double dieback. The Venno also got back.
They are looking to seal the deal with two quick, decisive games here.
And look at this. This is the game-ending next item. The Aghanim's on the Chen, and the Lone Druid actually grabbing a hood. Not Bulldog's customary item, but it seems like they want to get a pipe and then just use that to power their way into the base.
Good news is, EG at least killed off the big Granite Golem. So there's no Granite Golem, but he's going to get the Thunderhide Lizard, which is in some ways just as good. You can put that Frenzy on the Lone Druid Bear, I believe, and with that, you've got an even bigger threat for the push. It's just going to be an Alliance, again, put the Spirit Bear on the high ground, hitting buildings, plop down the Healing Ward, and EG's, like, all this AoE damage from Zeus Arc Lightning, from the Venomancer, Ultimate theoretically from the Plague Wards chipping away, just gets negated because of the heals on the side of Alliance. The Chen, the Juggernaut, just proving to be too effective when combined with the pushing power of the Lone Druid.
It honestly is at that point where EG can't just sit in the base. If they let Alliance get to the base, they're going to lose a late of Rax, almost no matter what. Even with a perfect lasso, the Bear is still going to be smacking away at the Rax the whole time. They probably get the save anyway with the swap. It feels like EG have to fight outside the base, but at the same time, that's where Night Stalker with an Aghanims is at his best.
And that maybe even extends so it feels like they have to try and stop Alliance getting another Roshan. If Alliance get an Aegis, you got to imagine.
That's going to be so difficult.
Yeah, Smoke is your only friend at that point, but anytime you're kind of missing as 5 from the map, Alliance probably just doesn't go into the Roshan pit and waits it out on the high ground. They'll take a 5v5 team fight. They'll just do anything probably to not get caught in the Roshan pit, since they know what that Rosh pit did in that Secret series to both themselves, but more importantly, Team Secret in 2 separate games. So
it's all syncing up for round 2 of the Death Ball. The pipe nearly done on Bulldog, the Roshan.
I mean, when you're going pipe on Lone Druid, you know how to win the game and when you can win the game.
And Vlad's on the Night Stalker. So all of the items on Alliance just built around the 5-man Dota.
And it just doesn't feel like Arteezy's Radiance is going to come soon enough, perhaps. He's got 3.4k gold close to the Relic, but Alliance may just find a timing before he has Radiance. And even if he gets the Radiance, it doesn't feel like it's going to be enough. When you've got the mech, the pipe, AoE heals across the board in Alliance, it's just going to negate the majority of the AoE spread damage. EG have to make sure they get off all their spells, and they need to find a way to also take out the Healing Ward of the Juggernaut in these team fights. Or to fight around the cooldown. Like when they use that Healing Ward to protect the Bear, if they can wait till it expires, then go in. Like they lost the tier 3 tower and then engage. It was very much like a kind of planned out timing from EG with that top lane high ground defense, because they knew the Healing Ward was wearing off and they didn't have to worry about it anymore, but they just didn't have the damage. They didn't have the items. And Alliance say, we don't need Roshan. Let's just go now.
Rosh is beside the point. He's a red herring. And this is perfect because the Spectre doesn't have Radiance yet. And if he wants to buy the Relic, he's not going to have buyback. Very close. The Bear gets to work now. Quickly bringing down the range Rex. The lasso is there. It's on S4. No swap just yet. The Death Ward comes through. Very well played, but they actually drag him out of Death Ward range. So S4 is able to tank through it. Loda survives as well. They root up Fear, and even with the Glimmer Cape, he may end up going down. The Bear of Resummon does come out. Alliance with the pipe now active. Do they want to back off? The Bear is dropping quickly. Help Alfredo! Save him! No, they've lost him again. Universe will end up going down, though. There's the trade. No lasso.
This is the push EG have to defend. If they can do this,
Now
then you
I
get
think
the Radiance.
you go back to Roche.
Yeah.
And then you go again.
I mean, for EG, they're okay with a little bit of breathing room. It's whether or not they're okay defending an Aegis push. And you can see Alliance, they'll TP the Jug bottom. And as soon as EG say that, they can breathe. They're like, okay, sigh of relief. We've got like 2 or 3 minutes. We've also got to decide whether we want to just farm in that 2 or 3 minutes or whether we want to smoke out, contest Roshan, whether we just try and get whatever items we can. Like, Zeus has already got pretty much where he's going to be for the high ground. He's got the Veil, the Yules. Veil, like an essential item pickup in a game like this when you're defending high ground, but other than that, there's not many other big kind of team fight changing items coming. Even something like a mech on Peter is not going to make a big difference. It's just the Radiance. Fear's Aghanim Scepter, though,
that's
maybe something. Yeah. If you're EG, you're thinking like Aegis high ground push coming. Let's sell items just so we can get the Ag Scepter. You may even sell off something like the Treads or the Wand so you can complete an Ags and get that Glimmer Cape ultimate off. Alliance have to be ready to cancel. They've got the gem on the S4 Night Stalker. And I think they will have definitely watched and studied those LGD replays, and they know Fear on Witch Doctor. Do not let him get off a big death board.
I mean, this game it's going to be tougher because there's the Aghanim's Gem Night Stalker.
Yeah.
So the Glimmer Cape will not keep him safe. He's really got no defensive supports to help him out.
That's where Universe maybe comes in. If he leads with a Blink Lasso and they use the Venge swap to deal with the Lasso, suddenly there's maybe no Venge swap stun to cancel the death ward, and it just comes down to a Night Stalker Void. So it could be a situation where Alliance have very limited tools to actually stun Fear, and if Fear positions well, maybe he can find a way around it and get off a good ultimate. And they're going to just look like they have time to finish off this Radiance. So EG, they'll have most of the piece of the puzzle. Will they get Fear's Aghanim Scepter and the Radiance? That's going to be the big question. There's a Tier 2 tower in the way, and EG just hoping they can get everything together.
I think if he does want it, Guts, for this push, he's going to have to sell items, but I'm not sure he even has enough if he does. Still only 1,000. He'd have to sell everything, basically, to get the eggs.
I think Spectre trying to get a Tier 2 tower up top just to try and get that little bit of extra gold boost. And
there's the Radiance.
Okay, he's got Radiance.
No buyback, though. This is just barely by the skin of his teeth. They are going to bail the Bear. The Lasso comes out, insta-swap to cancel it. Beautifully done. The Bear now backing off. The Death Ward starts coming. There's the Venom ult as well. And it's not really enough damage.
They kite back
for now, but the Chen army does drop quickly. They've already committed the heal for this. S4 also taking some heavy damage. Arteezy charges in. He wants to get aggressive. The cask is there, but they turn on him with the Omni. Dead for a minute. No buyback ready. And Alliance now spin forward, engaging aggressively. The Aegis gets popped. The Bear moving on to Fear, keeping him out of the fight. There's no Death Ward. There's no Zeus ult. There's no Lasso. There's no answers for EG. Buybacks are their only hope. But these are heroes without their big combo. Zeus ult has come off cooldown for now, but Ake stands his ground. He's man fighting against the EG army. It seems the Sumail bolts might be enough to drive them back. Ake almost dead, and they do get him. Zap number 1, bolt number 2, EG with the Zeus buyback, able to turn the fight.
It took him a Witch Doctor buyback as well, but this is what EG have to do. They've just got to keep on stalling, even just for this one lane of rats, it's worth using these buybacks just because every time you hold against the Aegis push, suddenly Alliance, they've got to wait either like 7 or 8 minutes for another Roshan, or they've got to go for a much riskier push without Aegis, because Loda's always on the front lines. He knows that if he gets lassoed, he's got the swap behind him, he's got the Aegis, he can fight into EG despite all the AoE magic damage coming out of the Veil, the Veno, the Zeus. This AoE damage from EG is brutal, but an Aegis on Juggernaut makes it a whole lot easier, and that's something Alliance won't have for some time.
Yeah, I wonder if they slow down or if they just go right back. Knowing buybacks are on cooldown for quite a few heroes. They are still leading by 20,000 gold. Incredible that EG's even been able to hold this long. Absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, Fear.
Imagine if they weren't down 20k. Fear, though, trying to run away, but S4 on the hunt. He gets off the initial void. Oh, Witch Doctor, very tanky.
And Fear's got to be thinking, like, where can I get farm on the map? What will Alliance do?
That buyback kills him, though. He probably would have had the eggs by now if he didn't have to. Or been very close. Brutal stuff for EG. At this point, if you're Alliance, it feels like Sumail is public enemy #1. The amount of damage he's dishing out here with the Veil is absolutely ridiculous, and That's where I wonder, do Alliance just say, screw it, let's get some BKBs here? Even a BKB on the Bear. Because
had
the
a
thing
lot
that's
of
nuking him
money.
down is the Zeus by and large.
Yeah. And they've got the pipe, but honestly, pipe, it's not enough. The barrier protection against...
One bolt with the Veil, I think instantly removes it.
It's like 2 Arc Lightnings with Veil. Removes all of the pipe as well from your entire team. So it's not really cutting it on its own. It's great for the Bear because he takes so much, the Spirit Bear takes so much damage. So even like the self-magic resistance keeps that Spirit Bear alive so much longer. But for Alliance, they may just say, let's get a BKB on Jug. Let's get a BKB on the Spirit Bear as well. The Night Stalker, a possible follow-up item. But right now, S4 is sitting on 3.5k gold. He's going to have to make some decisions. And items like to give you more raw HP like a heart just aren't going to be that effective when it's percent-based damage coming out of Zeus.
Yeah, again, BKB seems like it could be the next pickup for a lot of the Alliance heroes. If he wants to help the Siege, AC perhaps, but he does. Pretty much all their cores feel very killable as long as Zeus is standing his ground.
Well, Alliance, they know EG will not be kind of doing any really risky movements out of their base to, or like as individual heroes to farm, because that's going to be where Alliance picks them apart. They have no buyback games over. So EG, if they're making any movements, it's going to be together as 5. There's not going to be any like, okay, let's send one hero to riskily farm the bottom lane while someone else farms top, someone else farms mid. Try to get a catch with the Zeus ultimate, but as soon as it gets thrown, Night Stalker immediately scurrying away.
Well, all the people praying for Game 3, I'm sure are just wondering, how can EG hang on? They are getting time here on Arteezy. He's being hard to split push. They haven't really tried to gank him, and he does close in on his next item. So, as for the Spectre here, Gods, what are you thinking? Is this a Manta? Do you go straight into a Heart? A Blade Mail?
Manta ultimately going to allow you to tank up a lot better against the Juggernaut Omni Slash, which for most fights has been a big tool
really
in bringing
shredded
down.
in the past too.
And I think it just gives you a little bit of extra damage, wave push with the Radiance Illusions, and it's going to be probably your best friend as far as this game goes. BKB's coming. S4 has one. Loda building one.
How about Alfredo? What's Alfredo getting?
Possibly thinking the AC first. Yeah, that's going to give them the damage they need. And if EG want, they can commit on the Spirit Bear, but then I think they're losing the team fight if they're throwing too many spells and focusing on that Spirit Bear too
They're
much.
going to find Universe here. Swap into a quick stun with a Void there as well. A pick on Universe could be very big, but the Veil comes out. That bolt did about a third of S4's HP off the bat. And Universe, speaking of the bat, blinks in looking for a lasso, but he was silenced. A Void again from S4 with the 10-second BKB about to go on cooldown. They're going to need a route to engage into this. PPD, glimmering and retreating. Will make it out.
Nice disengage coming out from the side of EG. Any losses at this stage of the game are just brutal, and that's a 10-second BKB, so I mean, EG are playing the long game. For them, any win condition is in the 50-minute plus stage of this game, so when those BKBs get down to 5 seconds or less, when they manage to somehow farm up, like the Manta and more on Spectre, get more items on heroes like Zeus. But for Alliance, they want to end things in the next 10 to 15 minutes, either now or with the next Aegis.
Yeah, going bottom, an interesting choice when that melee Rax is exposed top, but that's because Arteezy is pushing out the lane.
Yeah. Very much just like a positioning
farm.
thing. They almost found a kill mid lane, and then there was no lane to push elsewhere, so...
I mean, that Spectre clock is slowly ticking, Gods. He's getting a lot of space, a lot of time, especially after the rough start he had.
It's still Loda, like, he's so farmed, and he can just do this. He Blades Fuse on the high ground, starts hitting the buildings, and bit by bit, Alliance will get closer and closer
the
to
root,
taking away the EG
root
base.
might be the death of PPD. The mech comes through. Wow, Loda just smacks him down, and then carves up the bat. Who had a lasso, has no buyback either on the Venomancer. This is going to be an incredibly tough hold. They've already lost one random Rax. Maybe Alliance even go for a second off the bat. It seems like they're rotating for it.
Oh, all of the Chen creeps get low, get immediately healed back up as well. EG, it's do or die for them. They'll have a Spectre buyback for this last fight.
Oh, they're going for Megas here, but this could be the tide turner. This could be going to be tough to get it off.
They have a swap, and there's no lasso.
Arteezy into the middle of the fight. I believe he does have buyback. He's going to have to use it as he gets nuked down by the Chen. Insta buyback on him. The Death Ward's going, but it's not critical damage. Alliance just back away, and they rotate onto top. The Megas are coming out, and GG!
What
Alliance
a
is
performance.
back!
The Swedes have done it. They take down EG in dominant fashion. Neither game could EG even get a nose in.
What a performance from Alliance. The road they took to get here, taking down Secret, Liquid, and EG. 3 teams at the major and doing so in convincing fashion. That makes them a scary contender going to Shanghai.
At this point, they have got to be the team that everybody is looking at going into that major as well. And what a surprise it's been, considering you look at like the champions from the past majors, teams like OG, you look at Secret, EG, and think, okay, these are the teams to worry about in Shanghai. But no, it's going to be Alliance. This is the team it feels like everybody has got to prepare for. Everybody has got to look at it and say, do we need to start playing more Lone Druid, Prophet, Batrider? Are these heroes which are core to the metagame right now? Everybody is going to be learning from Alliance and trying to prepare for Alliance because they are the best team right now.
Well, we've got the whole squad marching out on stage, fans swarming it.
Right now, guys, Team Alliance!
Here we go. Congratulations to Alliance, your StarLadder Season 13 champions.
On this stage, please, our congratulations, Team Alliance, champions of I-League and StarLadder! You can see this cup in their hands, and we are now, for this time, they are really champions! And right now, C-Rex and Slacks, interview with the winners, please.
Absolutely. Alliance, you know, they used to call you rats, but now you're a whole different animal. You've done it. The Cinderella story has come true. You have won StarLadder 2016. How did you do it, man? How'd you do it, Luna? Come on, baby.
I just have this amazing team. That's the team play and the atmosphere in the team is just amazing. And without the fans, I don't think we could have done it either because we've felt big support from you guys, and yeah, it's been amazing.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, give it up. All right now, man, this crowd loves you, Minx loves you. What do you have to say to all these great people who came out to see you here today and your fans at home that never gave up on the Alliance comeback dream?
I want to thank every fan who's here and all the fans who's in Twitch chat giving us your energy. Feels good, man.
In case you didn't believe me that the crowd was insane, there you go. All right, guys, you've done it. You've got WCA under your belt. You've got StarLadder under your belt. What is next for the back and on track Team Alliance?
Shanghai Mayor is the next one, and then we're aiming to win a TI again.
And are we going to be winning the major after this, man?
Sorry, what did you say?
You going to be winning the major now?
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, yes, that's what I'm talking about. All right, well, congratulations again, Team Alliance. You've done it. You've proved them all wrong, and you're the champions. Woo! All right, but don't go anywhere because we've got a lot more coming at you today. We've got some Counter-Strike Go, but what an incredible week of Dota, and what an incredible event this has been.
And one word, just one word from the Gustav, please.
Спасибо.
Champions of I-League and StarLadder!
And he, of course, was talking about over to the super smart analyst panel after seeing Alliance take that amazing victory. What an event it's been. That might not be us, but I wish it was, to be honest. That looked like they had a party going on. What? Guys, where's your outfit?
Look, I didn't know that Secret just won the tournament because that was more meeples. Yeah, those were meeples. We need a couple bears up here.
We do need bears up here. But what an amazing series that was. Winter, before the match started, before this last game started, you said EG has to take the early game, or at least not lose the early game. It went already wrong there, didn't it?
But they didn't even lose it that hard. It was just very difficult for them to be able to defend against the pushes against the Chen that early. And not to mention that early game-wise, their heroes are just not meant to excel. You know, it's not even they played badly or anything or made any severe mistakes. Their lineup just wasn't meant to be early game.
Okay, Lumi, Alliance. They shown that they are an absolute beast here. in Minsk. Now, we know that the beast that they were was a rat, but this was not rat. This was a whole different animal. Which animal did we see?
All right, I'm going to cheat a little bit. They are a phoenix. Not exactly a real animal, but rising from the ashes of TI3 and now reborn and soaring through the skies of Minsk, I guess. And next up is Shanghai.
Well played.
Well played. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any other animal? I mean, you're shaking your head.
I mean, they're like dung beetles. They were just like rolling things up into balls and pushing them at people.
A dung beetle. Okay.
I'm going to stick with Phoenix for this one.
I like the Phoenix one a little bit better. A little bit better there as well.
Sorry, Brian. That's okay.
A dung beetle. Okay. But Alliance, they made it happen. They take home $100,000 in prize pool. EG not going home empty-handed. It is going to be a $60,000 prize pool for them. But I think the biggest thing for this tournament is that Alliance targeted a gigantic bullseye on their backs. They are the team to take down, as the commentator said as well. How do you stop the dung beetle? How do you stop the bundle of poop just rolling up to your face?
I think number one is like a lot of the heroes that got buffed that are really strong in this patch are all their best heroes. So it's really difficult to draft against them. It's very rare that you see Mr. Peter Panam actually put his team in a really difficult position. It's because of how much heroes that Alliance can actually play, and it's very difficult to ban all of them. You have to choose which one you want to play against and which one you'll rather ban. So it's just a tough spot. When I think Scan even mentioned, it's very hard for them because maybe they don't play Chen, so they have to either ban it or just give it away. So that's like, I think that they might want to work out after this.
EG has a problem right now in that they can't play Chen. I think that you'll probably see some players on streams coming forward spamming a bit more Chen, maybe spamming a bit more Spirit, because I think if we don't see a major version change coming up soon, I don't think you can really win a major tournament if you can't play Chen.
It won't be a problem for them. I believe that Fear would just put in
Fear
effort.
can play
Yeah,
it.
he would put in effort to learn. Like look at how he learned Earth Spirit and all the other heroes that he's been playing. So I believe that if they want to actually be able to draft Chen into their composition,
they'll be able to do it.
Fear is going to be able to do it.
Yeah, and they of course want to have the more versatile lineup always. So being able to also do Chen, play Chen, is a big aspect of that one as well. So this whole tournament, we had an amazing group stage. We talked about it already, that it was probably one of the closest group stages that we've ever seen in a Dota 2 tournament. We had close groups just all together, which already is something that we don't often see as close as these groups were. I want to hear your overall opinion on the tournament and overall like impression of this StarLadder I-League Star Series Finals, K-pop.
I think we saw a lot of interesting trends here because we came into this. This is probably the first major event after the patch that we really were going to learn what the patch is about. Like, sure, WCA happened, but it was so immediately after the patch that people didn't really have time. I mean, teams were like reading up on patch notes and they were going to be playing the next day. So I think we really saw some formative ideas on how you're supposed to play on this patch, and that's the main thing I took away, is that this alliance style of Dota is how you play Dota right now. And everyone that kind of was able to play similarly performed well, and everybody else that was having kind of some issues with these push strats couldn't play these really strong in the meta heroes were the ones that fell behind.
I disagree.
Okay.
I feel like judging from what we saw in the group stages to now, I felt like every day there was a different OP hero. I think at the group stage, it was Death Prophet that was picked a lot. It was Earth Spirit that was winning a lot. And then in the main stage, we saw Witch Doctor coming ahead. And I think Mr. Parker was ultimately correct. The best hero so far at the patch was Chen.
Yes.
But,
absolutely.
you know, 2 weeks from now, Team Secret coming out with a different hero. We have, you know, Team Liquid maybe doing something else. I feel like we're still at a very early and young stage of the patch. I think it's going to be very different down the line. So
Oracle as well. Like you need to be able to play the hero a lot to understand. At the beginning of the patch, when I was at the house, I was like, "Damn, Aether Lens is such an OP item." But we didn't really see that at WCA. But here, we actually saw how good Aether Lens was. Like every hero was buying it. Supports were buying it. Mid were buying it. Carry, maybe not carries. Mid and supports are mainly it's just too cheap. And for what it gives you, it just...
The sets are all so good. Like, I forget about the magic resistance all the time, but it's so good.
Feels like it needs like a 300 to 500 recipe on top of that too.
Yeah. Like get more expensive or...
Just get rid of the 8% spell damage buff.
Or take away something. It either has to be more expensive or something has to be taken away.
Well, we have Alliance being our champions, and we saw them already just now, still on stage, signing, because the fans here in Minsk, they're so nuts. They are so passionate. They are here super early on. They are willing to stand in line for hours to just be here or be in the front of the line right now. As every time once a team won, doesn't even matter if it's in the middle of the series or at the end of the series. No, they swarm that platform, and
this just has got to feel good. Like this is catharsis
Yeah.
for me if I'm Alliance, because you've struggled so hard. Like you've went through so many roster changes, trying to get everything, trying to rekindle that energy, that TI3 spirit, and now
Turns
you're just
out all
able to
they
sit.
needed was
you're
the original 5. Yeah.
They just needed Ice Frog, but they're just being able to sit and just bask in it, which is an amazing feeling.
yeah, they were able to beat a lot of obstacles to get here. And I'm not just talking about teams here, which of course are pretty big obstacles as well, but the snow, the troubles they had traveling, but definitely all made worth a while. Now, we had an amazing match. There is obviously another semifinals coming up after, or not semifinals, grand finals coming up after this one for CSGO. But what was your favorite moment of the whole event, K-pop?
Oh, that's such a hard question.
Yeah.
I'm going to cheat, and since I'm first, I'm going to say the grand finals.
That's this
And
one.
Just this
Yes.
right here. Being able to see these guys that have toiled so hard, had to face down the haters, myself included, who doubted them, didn't think they could get back to TI3 form. Being able to just bask in the glory of their win is just amazing to see.
I thought there were a number of really close kind of late game situation that was amazing. The Fnatic versus EG game was great. The EG versus Alliance went really late, and of course the VP Vega went really, really late. So
Yeah.
I thought those late game scenarios were at least my favorite moments of the tournament.
Yep, for me it was the comeback, the Vega versus Pro.
The Vega versus Virtus Pro.
Yeah, that was
an
my
amazing
favorite
game.
game.
Do you feel like, because a lot of people were saying that, you know, Vega won that match because Virtus Pro made a mistake there at the end. Do you feel like if Virtus Pro participated in the playoffs, we would have seen a lot of difference in results?
Maybe because they are a team that, they won the summit,
Right.
so they are a very strong team after adding Silent into their roster. So
Yep.
I think that they would be able to contest the teams there. I'm not sure if they will be able to go to win the event, but I
They
think that
didn't win the summit, of course. They came second.
I think
sorry, yeah.
They performed well, though. I think they're another
They
team.
did perform
I think they're
very
another
well.
team that does really well in best of threes.
I keep remembering them winning the first 2 games.
They did win the first. I mean, if that was a best of 3, we would have seen Virtus Pro there beat Victor.
Do we think if the series was a best of 5 that EG would have been able to come back? I don't. I
think that if we have to believe Puppy.
Yeah.
He said if it's a 2-0, and I have to say someone who was going to win, it's going to be Alliance. If it would be a best of 5, I would have said Alliance is going to win. Is what he said.
But he
so
said it was going to be 3-2.
He
I
did
think,
say it was going to be
which
3-2.
I think is relatively fair. I mean, we've seen EG, especially the PPD-led EG, come back from a lot of tough situations in best of 3s and best of 5s.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've ever seen them lose the first 2 games of a series this bad.
It's like the drafting issue.
Yeah.
Remember at TI when EG exposed the fact that CDC can't really play Lashrock very well and they abuse them?
Right.
This is like the same thing like Structure Chen because EG doesn't play Chen.
Right.
So it's either they ban it or they pick it. Or
Yeah.
it's like
They kind of got EG'd. Like they found out what was their weak point, and the other team just exploited it.
Yeah, we talked about a lot about adapting drafts and how you adapt during a series, and then maybe if there was at least one more game, we would have seen EG adapt to the point where they were able to take a game. But in this series specifically, we haven't seen Alliance needed to adapt because their playstyle is obviously working. So perhaps if EG would have won that, Alliance would have adapted their strategy slightly and would have taken the game after that as well.
yeah, but talking about adapting, you can only adapt if you are familiar with it. Maybe EG were just not familiar with how to run the Chen. That's why they didn't adapt into the fact that, oh, maybe we should pick the Chen instead of banning it. So that is probably what they would look to fix after this, unless Chen gets some nerf after this, or the patch changes
I
again.
think he might.
It's like he got too many indirect buffs. I think the jungle buff was really huge for him.
To be fair, I feel like one of the best hero. My mic keeps cutting off. No, it's very close.
Ah, move it more forward.
It's like right next to me.
Oh well.
I think the wire is weird.
Yeah, that works. That works.
I think one. I think one of the best heroes that's really against Chen has not really been as exploited is the Enchantress.
Okay, yes.
Swindle Melons is very happy to go back home and practice that hero more, and I think teams should really look into that because it's a great counter pick. I mean, you just steal his creeps early on.
Perhaps we're going to see that more, as I would imagine that this is the patch that we're going to see the next 2 upcoming tournaments on, which is, I believe, MDL as well as the Shanghai Major. So not a lot of massive changes, I would imagine, incoming, which favors the Lions, obviously, as they are your champions.
Are they everyone's favorites for the Shanghai Major now?
Can I wait 2 weeks before answering that?
No. Give me an answer now.
You know that the downside is knowing that you're the team with the target on its back. Everybody's going to look towards you to counter you, and I think that is a gigantic, like downside for you for Alliance in this case.
To be fair, Alliance is the one team I know of that when they have had a target painted on their back in the past, have been able to just win regardless. Because at TI3, everyone knew they were the team, and they still couldn't beat them. So it'll be interesting to see.
It'll definitely be.
What about you, Winter?
Winter, what do you think?
No.
Okay, Lumi is muted, but I think Winter is muted as well. But you know they look alike, so who knows?
But look they're still down there, just making their way through the autographs.
Yeah, they are still working at it. It is soon time for them to leave the stage and take their well-deserved rest, though, and have some of their. Their time. Lumi is your.
Am I back?
You're
back.
back.
I'm back too.
Okay, give me your idea of how Alliance is going to fare the next 2 weeks.
I mean, they're definitely the favorites, but let's not forget that some of these stronger Chinese teams were also not competing this tournament, eHome being one of them.
Yes.
Obviously, China is also not back, at least recently, but this would be the proving ground. Shanghai Major, they're very, very proud, and hopefully they could do well leading up to the big event.
Winter, is it working?
Yes, it's working.
Okay, give us
Yeah, I
your
think
rundown.
definitely they will be one of the stronger teams at Shanghai Major, at least top 3. I mean, if the patch doesn't receive a massive change, their play style is just really, really good, and the hero pool favors them a lot.
Well, what an amazing run it has been. Alliance, your champions here for a Star Series Season 13. Wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for our sponsors, EGB.com, the betting website. You have got, of course, Vulcan, the fantasy esports website. The Score Esports app for all your stats and information and news, which you can get on Google Play and your iOS App Store. And last but not least, the platform where you're watching right now. It is Twitch, the finest live stream platform. But it is not over yet, at least not for the fans here in the Minsk Arena, because there is another finals coming up. CSGO will have a best of 3 as well, and the fans will probably go just as crazy for that game as they have been going crazy for Alliance and EG here for our finals. For us, though, we hope to see you again in Season 14, but for now, enjoy some CSGO.
E-Gaming Bets. We accept bets on computer games online since 2011. Referral system for regular users and the first deposit bonus. Gaming devices store and the best choice of payment systems. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, Counter-Strike and StarCraft, World of Tanks and League of Legends. EGB.com. You know for sure who's going to win.